All right. I hope everyone present has already RSVP'd for the event. The link can be found in the Zoom chat if you're still lost. Again, good afternoon, everyone.
Since me and my partner are going to be with you for a while, let's get the introductions out of the way. Hello, I'm Stella Salde, your GDSC San Carlos Executive Relations Officer.
And I'm your GDSC San Carlos Chief Human Relations Officer, Eldridge Miola, your host for today's
Now,
Solutions Challenge info session.
now you may be wondering what the solution challenge is. Maybe you got ears at on Zoom because somebody pressured you into signing up.
Recording in
Or you
progress.
have no idea what this is all about. Who knows?
So,
Recording stopped.
for everyone to find out what this is all about, please help me welcome GDSC San Carlos Chapter Lead, USC CPE Council Secretary of Documentation, and interns at Dash Labs AI, Zach Ryan Machacon.
And of course, our beloved Chief Technology Officer of the GDSC San Carlos chapter, the USC CPE Council Vice President Internal, and also an intern at dashlabs.ai, Mr. Jury Kevin Lastre. Hello, guys.
Round
Hi.
of applause,
Diba?
everyone.
Nag-on cam. And of course, to our participants, if your bandwidth can't permit, we really appreciate if we can see your guys' face.
Hi guys, good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Can we see some G's in the chat? I want to see how active you guys are in this during this wonderful Friday. I feel like a Twitch streamer seeing all their G's in the chat. Happy Sinulog for those in Cebu, guys. Really rainy day, but I hope you guys will enjoy your Sinulog weekend. For those outside Cebu, feel free to come to Cebu if you guys want to join in. Yeah, definitely a mud party. So let's go ahead and start with the introduction to the solutions challenge. So I hope some of you guys are a bit oriented already with what the solutions challenge is about, but if not, then this is what the event is all about. So let's start with a few questions that will stir your mind about the solutions challenge. So in any hackathon or any global hackathon, in my opinion, the hardest part is actually getting started. Getting started with what problem to deal with, what problem to solve, and even how to build a team. How do you start with knowing who to work with, knowing who to revolutionize the future with? So, what if there were no limits to your ideas? What if technological constraints didn't exist? And what if you could have an impact with just the resources available to you? These are no longer what ifs, guys. All of those things are already possible in through all of the opportunities given to us, especially here in the Solutions Challenge, where student developers like us, no matter what year you are, from first year to second year, third year, fourth year, or maybe fifth year or batch X, depending on what batch you are already, or even from any course, anyone already has the opportunity to impart a solution that can help change the future and the course of humanity itself just through technology. So, to give you an overview on what the solutions challenge is about, let's first let's first talk about why the solutions challenge was actually made in the first place. So the UN, or the United Nations, actually created the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, and it is to be achieved by 2030, and it's aimed to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet. So, in 2018, Google Developer Student Clubs decided to collaborate with the United Nations to inspire student developers to come together as a community, learn, and build real solutions for real problems. So, we're now in the fifth year of the GDSE Solutions Challenge. So, happy fifth. Happy fifth to the Solutions Challenge. It's basically a kindergarten student by now. So, we continue to iterate on feedback and aiming that every year it's going to be more impactful than the last. So this year, GDSC has challenged each chapter in the world, more than 1,300 chapters all over the world, to submit at least one submission. And I hope to see one of you guys shine in the global stage. No pressure. So, uh, so the Google Developer Student Club's 2023 Solution Challenge's mission is to solve for one of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technology. So being part of a Google org, I'm pretty sure some of you guys are exposed already to some of these technologies. Seeing some of you have attended DevFest, some of you have attended study jams of our chapter, of other chapters. So Google technologies such as Firebase, Flutter, Android, and pretty much anything under the sun by Google can be used for the solutions challenge. So um, as summarized again, it's created by the United Nations in 2015 to be solved by 2030. Then it's agreed by the 193 United Nations member states to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet. So next, we have the program timeline of the Solutions Challenge. So this is how the Solutions Challenge will go for the next few months. So it was officially announced 2 days ago, January 11th, the Solutions Challenge. So currently the website is now live and registration is already open. So you can register until around March. So you'll have the opportunity to develop your solutions and your submissions until March. So by January 18, the global GDSCs will also have a solution challenge kickoff event. So I suggest you guys to join the event. Since you'll be able to network with multiple other students from all over the world. You can connect with people from Africa, from Europe, from North America, from South America, from Asia, from Korea, from Japan, from Australia. So any pretty much all the countries that have GDSC chapters, you can connect with them there and talk about what their idea and what their plans are for the solution challenge. So, submissions will open by March 17th and submissions will close by March 31st. So, during April, it's a month-long evaluation of the solutions submitted by the GDSC chapters. So, they will undergo a month-long process of evaluating your solutions. And then by May 3rd, the top 100 of the global teams will be announced. So for the top 100, we will talk about the specific prizes later. I know some of you are excited about that, but yeah, the top 100 will be announced by May 3rd. Then by May, so not only will Google give you an opportunity to create solutions for the world, they'll also give you mentorship opportunities. So Google will you will have the chance to talk with Googlers from Google, and they will teach you and they will give feedback on how you can improve upon your solution by May if you go through the top 100. So by June 2nd, you will also have a round two. That's the final solution submission after the feedback iterations. So by June 19th, the top 10 of the global team winners will be announced, along with the solution evaluations within June. Then by July, you guys will be preparing for the demo day if you go through the top 10. So the demo day is an event held by GDSC and Google, and it's just the top 10 will present their solution and how it has worked out so far in a real world setting. So by August 3rd, the demo day will then occur along with the announcement of the top three winners. So the top three winners are not in order, but basically they're like the grand winners already of the entire hackathon. So top three are basically equal and they will be announced as the grand champions of the entire solution challenge. So it's a very lengthy timeline. It runs from January to August. So you will have enough time to think about what you guys would want to submit to Google. So to proceed, this is what I said earlier. You guys can RSVP for the Solutions Challenge kickoff event, which is going to be hosted by by the global GDSC chapters. I'm sending the link right now to the chat. You guys can RSVP for that event. So let's move on. So for the prizes. So honestly, when I first knew about the solution challenge, it's really what caught my mind. I mean, caught my eye. I mean, joining a contest, apart from like knowing what impact you guys can impart, it's a huge contribution, I guess, on what prizes you can win when joining a contest. So for the top 100, they will be able to receive a customized mentorship from Googlers and experts to take solutions to the next level, a branded T-shirt from Google, and a certificate. Then for the top 10 finalists, they will be able to receive additional mentorship, a swag box, and the opportunity to showcase solutions to Googlers and developers all around the world at Demo Day live on YouTube. So the Demo Day will be live streamed on YouTube. So expect that you guys will have a lot of viewers during that Demo Day if you guys manage to go through the top 10. And I believe I believe the Philippines has a lot of talented teams and chapters which can go through that top 10. Hopefully. Then for the contest finalists, in addition to the swag box, each individual from the additional 7 recognized teams will receive a cash prize per student. So, as what I've read earlier, for each team in a solutions challenge, you will be composed of 4 students. So each student, as a contest finalist, will receive $1,000. Then, for the top 3 winners, in addition to the swag box, each individual from the top 3 winning teams will receive a cash prize and a feature on the Google Developers blog. So for the top 3 winners, each student from that 4-man team will be able to get a prize of $3,000 each. So it's a pretty huge prize. I guess that's enough for some people to get motivated, hopefully. So let's move on to the next slide. So the judging. So it's a lot of word vomit here. I'll go ahead and send you guys the the evaluation or the criteria when it comes to um judging solutions challenge submissions. I sent the link over also in the chat, but I'll try and run through what they usually look for in a submission. So for impact overall is credited for 25 points. So does it have a clear problem statement? Does it have a proper goal and target in mind for an SDG, a UN SDG or a sustainable development goal? So feedback is also very important here, guys. So you will need to have to work with users because their feedback is very important when it comes to your submission. So is there evidence on was a solution actually effective in real life? And does it actually address the challenge? They must also be adequate enough to describe the success of the solution. And is there a clear plan to scale up and to extend it to a larger audience? Then for technology is also at 25 points. So does the team clearly describe the architecture, the components, the products, and what Google technology they used? So Google is very particular about this. So you're not locked in to using Google technologies. Like for example, I know some of you guys really like React. Can I hear some React users in the chat? Say G if you use React Native, or any other platform or any other JavaScript framework. Yeah, there you go. So we have a lot of React users here. So you're not locked in. So for example, we know Google has Angular for web, and they have Flutter or Kotlin for mobile. So as long as you use at least one Google technology. So for example, you have a Firebase backend locked to a React front end. That's still a valid solutions challenge submission as long as you have Google technology inside your software or your solution. So does the solution implement all the technical components needed to solve the challenge? And then does the team highlight some challenges they did while building the code? How did they address the issue? What were the decisions made? And then you actually have to create a video demonstration along with your solution to show how your application works and how the user will interact with it, and can it support more users and can be scalable. So for the next slides, I'll call upon our CTO, Jerry Kevin Lastre, to proceed. Let's go, Jerry.
Thanks. Hello, am I heard?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, so thank you, Zach. Next, we'll proceed with the submission criteria for submitting a solution. So first, you have to describe your project setup, describe what challenges you are solving, and then the United Nations SDG that you are targeting. Next is your implementation, as described earlier by Zach. You need to clearly describe your architecture, technological architecture that your team chose for the solution, as well as the components that you used for your application. Um, Next is our feedback, testing, and iteration. So you need to, of course, when developing software, you need to, it's not only you that will use that software. So you need to also test your software or your solution to real world applications by getting feedback from users, doing automated or manual testing, and iteration. Next is success and completion of the solution. So this you should answer the question on how your solution address the challenge that you are looking to solve for. So it should address the problem that you stated for your chosen SDG. And then you have to upload a demo video, which we will show later, some examples of the previous winners. And last but not the least is scalability and next steps. So what do you see as the future or next steps for your project? And you need to explain the technical architecture of your project on how it would be scaled to a larger audience. I think, yeah, that's it. So next slide. Okay, so next is creating a problem statement. So they say na when you sell, you have to sell the problem and not your product, di ba? So a good problem statement entails having uh, the opportunity to present significance, urgency, and priority. So you have to place it in very, very simple terms na everyone can understand. So it also includes enough data to support your problem or the urgency of your problem. And it should not be more than one paragraph. So they're not reading a thesis, guys. So you have to keep it short, di ba? Next is how to structure the problem statement. So who, you should answer these four W's. Who is experiencing the problem? What segments of the community or how many? What is the problem? Oh, okay. Describe the issue being experienced, and then when or where is the problem occurring, and then why is it a problem in the first place, di ba? So next. Okay, so this is our 2023 timeline checklist. So from August to January, you should join a Google GDSC chapter, and then um, from that, then you can host your info sessions and then form a team. So a team is composed of, I think, four members, and then you should select your UN SDG goals. Okay, that's from December to January. Next is to design and build. So that's from January to March. So you once you identified your solution, you're going to research about your solution and then build. For example, if you're building an application, a software application, then you'd have to build the front end, you'd have to build the back end technology. But there are other solutions na they're using embedded systems. So you'd have to outsource the hardware. Or maybe you can even ask for sponsorships so, from different organizations, or if you have someone you know, And then you'd have to test your solution, as I've said earlier, and iterate it so that it will stand the test of time, and it will also prove to be reliable. Next is submission. You should record a demo video and submit it by March 31st, 2023. And then top 100 solutions will be announced by May. And then for these top 100, you will be given mentorships. And then top 10 finalists will be announced by June. And then the top three winners will be announced live in YouTube. For this one, there is no like first place, second place, third place. The top three winners receive the same prize. So yeah, like uh reaching the top three is the ideal opportunity, guys. It's $3,000. God. How many Valo skins can I buy? I can buy Valorant itself. Next slide. Questions frequently asked questions. So, can my solution solve a problem outside of the scope of the SDG? So, um, Google clearly is very, very strict about this. You'd have to your solution should address one of the SDG goals, SDGs. So, when you have submitted your solution, you'd have to review clearly that your solution is in fact in line with SDG. Next. So can one student or team submit it with multiple submissions if they've contributed to both projects? So terms and conditions state limit one entry per person. So each student can only be part of one submission. So if I'm joining a team, pero I've also contributed to another team, so I'd have to choose which team I'll be on. Is it the first team, Team A, or Team B? Sino pipili? Shout out, Mark. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so can I still participate in the solutions challenge if there is no GDSC club, GDSC, GDSC club at my university? Um, you can still participate if you team up with at least one student existing at a GDSC university. So you can team up with um other chapters. I think there are a lot here, so you can outsource, guys. Chat guys, slide into their DMs. Na hey bro, can I join your solutions challenge team, diba? You must also register on their platform. Okay, so there is a katong I think GDSC community dev or the website where you need to register at a chapter. I think that's the only requirement. Next, so we will show examples of last year's winners for top three winners for the solutions challenge. So first is from Vietnam. Sorry if ma-murder ang name. So it's Hoa Sen University. So they created I think this was at the height. I think not at the height of the pandemic, but the uso pa ang COVID-19 at that time. They created a digital check-in system. So just imagine when you tap your ID, and then it automatically detects your temperature, and then it stores that data into a dashboard that they can use, and something like that. So can we play the video? That's very short lang, guys. It's under 2 minutes, I think.
We introduced Gateway is an open source IoT solution as an application running on your mobile devices and communicate with our embedded system over Bluetooth connection protocol. Create an open COVID-19 digital check-in system. In detail, our solution based on World Health Organization COVID guidelines, which including first, health declaration, second, face mask detection, third, body temperature recognition, last but not least, instant hand sanitizer. The information will be transferred to our backend, which is hosted on Google Cloud Compute Engine and stored on Firestore database. Our organization will have a web application built with Angulars around near real-time device management and monitoring using Firestore, and that will be hosted on Firebase hosting service. By leveraging Google technology, we could reduce our development time significantly, and the only thing we need to focus on is our ideas and how to transform those to a practical solution. Moving to sustainable development goal, we focus on good health and well-being as our primary goal. The solution enables communities to build low-cost and effective way to support existing contact tracing solutions, where those that could be automatic and ensure personal health condition. The solution achieved great feedback from our communities. First, it's faster than traditional contact tracing. Second, simple to set up and already require from the tripod. In terms of second goal, partnership, we don't stop at this prototype of firmware and software. We aim for contribution and processing into the more production ready, as well as to support those who will be needed. We believe that it will be our third value for sustainable cities and communities, where we must take steps to respond to secure public health measures beyond the outbreak and set the scene for resilient and recover in the pandemic.
Oh, diba? Amazing. But that solution requires, I think, hardware knowledge, more very computer engineering type of solution. But of course, it's not required na you'd have to use hardware. The next solution is Blossom. So it's for women. Um, it's an app that is for women's health. It could calculate menstrual cycles, so that they'd be given the resource and education for their well-being and health. So let's play though the video.
Welcome to Blossom. Created with Flutter, Blossom is an innovative one-stop app for young girls to get access to relevant and reliable menstrual education and resources available on Android and iOS. And opening the app, the user is directed to a sign-in page where they can sign up, log in through Gmail, or continue as an anonymous user. During the onboarding process, they can answer some key questions such as age and interests, which all help us to personalize the user experience. On the home page, users can find the daily question, a snippet of their cycle tracker, related stories and news, and their profile.
Next, we have our period logger. This feature allows the user to record their period information onto a calendar, including date, mood levels, pain, and additional notes. It allows young girls to develop healthy period tracking habits, while also allowing users to look back at the information and more accurately predict their future cycles as well as future cycle habits. This was built using the Table Calendar Flutter package, and it uses Firebase to restore user entries when they log in.
We further implemented the learning feature. Information available to each user is dependent on the age they inputted when they first opened the application. The older the age, the more mature the information that is presented. There are also different topics for the user to progress through, such as consent, self-care, and periods, and they can complete questions to check their understanding.
The map features allows the user to find the nearest period product and health services. Built using the Directions and Places API, they can directly search a location or use the filters to search for pads, tampons, doctors, and other necessities. Once the user selects a location, they can view key details. Based on what they've searched for, the app also provides learning information and alternative options.
Our app has the potential to empower thousands of underprivileged individuals through learning more about their reproductive systems and practicing good health and well-being.
All right. So quite a lot of Google tech used, as you've noticed. It's Flutter, Firebase, and then there was Google Maps. So it doesn't need to have an embedded system or hardware. You just have to overthink the idea, guys. The solution will really come. Next. Okay. So we have posted a link to the form if you're interested in joining. For San Carlos Carolinian students, my brothers and sisters, if you're interested, please fill up the form and we'll get right back to you for your team. I think pila how many slots ba, Zach?
We're planning to cater at most 5 teams for um for solution challenge, depending on how many are actually interested, because we actually starting from December we actually started to collate and gather mentors already, so you guys will receive mentorship even before Google gives you some. So we're planning to support our teams with resources such as learning materials, study jams for any requested technology you guys would want to learn about, especially for your solution, like with Google technologies such as like those other Google technologies that aren't really discussed in an academic setting, like TensorFlow, Angular, Flutter. And we also, yeah, as mentioned earlier, we have experienced mentors, people who have actually joined hackathons before and have mentored teams before who can help you achieve your goal of winning the solutions challenge. So deadline of the form will be January 31, so that by February we can start meeting with you guys and um start thinking of what you guys will need for the solution challenge. So just a reminder, as mentioned earlier, GDSC, you only need to have at least one person to be part of the GDSC chapter. So yeah, this is what Stuart is asking in the chat. Is it exclusive for USC students? No. You can sign up as you can sign up if you're interested in representing our chapter for the solutions challenge. As long as you're a college student and a GDSC member of our chapter or any chapter, you guys can even collaborate with other chapters to represent GDSC San Carlos. So it's really up to you on who you want to represent. But here in GDSC San Carlos, we're willing to um, give you guys other resources needed along with mentorship. So once again, the deadline for this form will be January 31st. Uh, TensorFlow, Angular, Flutter. Um, Carlos, can non-participating members listen in during the mentoring? For that, the mentoring sessions might be private, but we are planning to hold study jams for those technologies in the future, especially for TensorFlow, since machine learning is a very hot topic right now in the space. So that's all for the introduction and the mechanics of the solutions challenge. We really can't wait to see what you guys can build. I believe in the potential of Filipino student developers. Di tayo magpapatalo sa mga outside the Philippines. We have to I know that we can prove ourselves to be one of the greatest developers globally. So good luck to everyone who's interested. Once again, we sent the forms for interested teams in the chat for those who want to join in and represent GDSC San Carlos in the upcoming solution challenge. So let's go, guys.
All right, all right. Thank you, Mr. Zach Ryan Machacon and Mr. Jury, for that introduction on what the Solutions Challenge is all about. You know, Stella,
Now,
I
yeah.
was calculating something right when I heard about the cash prize, and it turns
Yeah.
out if you win for top three, you can buy around 305 kilos of onions. So
Oh
if
my
you're
God.
interested in that you can buy that much onions.
Okay, Rena. I know you're just hungry, Eldridge. Kaya it's already like 1, and I don't think
Yeah.
you've eaten pa. It's okay. Pero also, guys, I would like to put emphasis na if you have any questions, you want to ask our resource speakers for later, we will be having an open forum at the end of all of the speakers' presentations. So ready and reserve your questions for later lang. Again, this event wouldn't be made possible without our media partners. This event is in partnership with the University of San Carlos Computer Engineering Council, the University of San Carlos Computer and Information Sciences Council, the Google Developers Club, Student Club, Crystal E College, the GDSC Student Club, Bohol Island State University, GDSC Holy Name University, GDSC De La Salle University, GDSC Technological University of the Philippines, Manila, and GDSC Central Philippine University.
With special thanks to GDSC University of the East Caloocan, GDSC Far Eastern University, GDSC Mapua MCM, and GDSC Polytechnic University of the Philippines Santo Tomas Branch. Again, this event would not be possible without your support. Moving on, we are now opening the open forum for any one of you guys who have any questions regarding the mechanics for the solutions challenge. So if you have any
Yes.
questions, place it
Yeah,
down
guys,
below.
ask away.
I have a question, by the way, Zach, if you
Go.
don't mind. It's one of the rules stated that it's okay as long as one GDSC member is available.
Yeah.
Does this mean now? Let's say I'm a GDSC member, I want to apply, and my other three members are fully experienced workers from companies. Is that possible?
Unless they're a student, then that's allowed.
Ah,
But they're required to be college students or university students at the time of submission.
right.
Additional question from me.
Go.
So it doesn't matter if they're in their master's or PhD as long as they have like records in school, right?
Yes, like they're a current university student according to the
okay.
terms and conditions. They don't really elaborate on what degree or what tier of schooling you're currently trying to you're currently in. But as long as you're a college student or a university student, then yeah, you're allowed to join the solutions challenge.
Or just imagine if you're just taking one subject or like one course just to join the solutions challenge.
You gotta
Wala.
wait for the money.
Just a
Loophole?
suggestion.
Loophole.
Like you pay 3,000 pesos for like a course and then the price is like $3,000.
Oh, that's investment right
Very
there.
good investment. Diba? Jerel did that daw. One is
Nice one,
great
Jerel.
minds think alike. We have a question from Wayne.
Yeah.
So Wayne asked if does the number of Google technologies used matter or affect the overall submission rating? Yeah, haha emoji ba na?
So, I think I'm pretty sure doesn't really give much impact. But as I said earlier, by the criteria, you only have to clearly explain what Google technology you use and why you use that technology. Personally, I believe that the amount of Google technology is not like directly correlated with success in the solution challenge. I've heard some submissions having only like the Google Maps API and submitting that like only with that Google technology, and they still managed to push through. But I think to a certain extent, I'm pretty sure there's it's more favorable, I guess, if you use Google technologies and make sure you justify why you use that Google technology. Does that answer your question, or do you have any more clarifications, Wayne?
Oh,
no problem.
Thank you, master.
My master.
Okay. Just a minute. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. If you guys are shy, don't worry. Zach doesn't bite. He's gonna answer your question. He is nice. Okay. Would you like to read it, Eldridge?
Thank you. We have a question from Zygo. Right. I'm sorry if I botched your name, but where can we find the results of past solution challenges? Is it gathered under one webpage, or do we need to search for it individually?
The results of the past solutions challenges are on one web page. I'm gonna send it right now. So it contains all the winners way back from 2019 until 2022. So you can try, even you can try and go to YouTube. Apart from like opening the web page I sent you, you can go to YouTube and search for like GDSC solutions challenge demo video or demo day, because as mentioned earlier, all qualifiers will have all top 10 of each solutions challenge will present during a demo day. It's usually done between July to August. So you will be able to see their demo video along with their interview portion with Googlers, and because there will be a live Q&A portion during the demo day, so Googlers will be able to ask you questions regarding your technology, regarding the problems you went through with developing your solution, and overall how the impact has been with your solution in your local community and the SDG you aim to solve. So I hope that answers your question. The webpage is in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, now we have a question from Mr. Christian Solon. Does hosting a self-made server on Google Cloud count as using Google Tech?
It should be. It's stated in the terms and conditions that Google Cloud is included in the Google technologies allowed or qualified to be a solution submission. So as stated here, Google Cloud, you can use Google Cloud for serverless functions, Kubernetes, ML services, and data engineering for submission. So those are the ones that qualify as the use of Google Cloud as a product in a solution submission. So I hope that answers your question. I'll send you guys the terms and conditions again if you want to read over it on your own. So the terms and conditions are in the chat box. So it's pretty lengthy, but feel free to ask questions if you guys have any clarifications as to example, how do you submit your how do submissions work? Do you send a repo or something like that? So feel free to send in your questions now, guys. We have like around 18 minutes, right?
Right.
For
Yeah,
more
18 minutes.
questions. So go ahead and send over your questions, guys. We'll be here.
That's right. That's right. As you can tell from Zach's wonderful voice, he's really not scary. So if ever you feel intimidated, he's not a bad guy. He's
Or maybe ganahan o ka ng background music atong participants. I really wanted na katong I was suggesting. What's your number, Zach?
09. Joke lang, guys. No data privacy.
Single pa din na si Zach,
You,
guys.
you
if
already
you're-
have you already have my number, Jerry. What's wrong with you?
Oof. Sure. Ito, guys, we still have a couple more minutes kung na may questions. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Or what if na-answer na ni Zach na nilang questions?
for me, Stella, I'm biggest
okay.
what if. Oh, we have a question.
Biggest what if. So it's still from Christian. So using it only as a glorified VM server isn't good enough. You really have to use specific features.
Yeah. As far as I know, you need to use it for the features that they indicated here below in the chat box. But if you want, I can try and reach out to Google and ask if that's allowed, because we still have time to reach out to them regarding this. So I'll get back to you through email or through Discord, because I know you're in the Discord server already. So I'll just let you know if ever, okay? I'll try and contact them within the week and hopefully they reply by next week. Thanks for that question, Christian.
Nice. Oh.
Is it fine to have
there's a
team?
question. Yeah,
Go.
is it fine to have a team whose all members will be graduating in the middle of the solutions challenge?
It
should be, right?
As long as at the time of your first submission during round 1, you guys are still students. Because before, sorry for cutting you off, Stella. What were you about to say?
Ako tingingon kay nobody has to know.
No. As far as I know, it's fine because as long as during your round one submission, which is around March, if you're still a student by then it should count because as before, with around 2021, I think UP Dreaman actually won the Solutions Challenge. They were the first Filipino team to win the Solutions Challenge last 2021. You can go ahead and check their solution on YouTube. So they actually won, and most of them were around fourth year students. So I think they were also graduating at that time, and they still managed to push through for demo day.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Kathleen? I hope that answers your question. No problem.
Yes.
By the way, napade I wait. There's one more. There's actually one more winner apart from the top 3, top 100, top 10. There's a People's Choice Award. So during demo day, viewers would be able to vote for their favorite entry among the top 10. And that entry that receives the most votes from public viewers will be selected as like a favorite potential winner. And the favorite potential winner will receive an additional swag kit. So a swag kit is usually like tumblers, shirts, usually the things that Google gives you. So yeah, it's pretty cool, guys. So from last year, I didn't show it during the slides, but from last year, the one that won as the People's Choice Award was a submission by Sumkyong University from South Korea. So they made deep lip reading machine learning app where if you enter a word in Korean, it shows a deaf person on how to read the lips, like the form of the lips when you speak that word. And they used AI to do that, and along with Flutter to develop the app. You can check their demo video also on YouTube, guys, if you're interested. It's very cool. I found it really cool because lip reading is actually a really hard thing to do and hard thing to practice, but it's a necessity for people with hearing problems.
Right.
I was going to make a joke, but then
What joke? Let's hear it.
Bad
Let's hear it.
It's so
Come on.
bad. It's
Let's
so
hear it.
bad.
Let's
Ayaw
hear it.
na
Let's
kay-
hear
it's,
it.
it's offensive, Zach. We're here. This is a
What-
formal event.
Later
Cancelled.
Cancel. Sige na ato ipangutana si kuan ganyan si Eldridge katong greatest what if daw.
Oh,
Something.
what?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say my greatest what if was solved when I saw Zach's face.
Nobody react to that, please.
Sorry,
Nobody
sorry.
react to that. What's wrong with you?
Wala pa din ni paniod to si Eldridge. Sorry guys.
Oh, you're my world, does it? Told you.
Thank you. You're not
Wow,
mine.
nice.
Sorry.
Zach, where's your simps? They're not here.
I don't have Sims, Stella. What's wrong with you? Stop roasting me live on an info session.
Zach Sim.
Zach-
Oh, diba?
Present?
Mary
What's
is
that?
kanang sending fire emoji. He's going to roast you later daw.
Mary, I'm expecting a meme later, okay? By tonight. I'm expecting a meme later.
Then the meme is you.
Discord. That's fine as long as in the name of GDSC bonding.
Oh, niresign na daw si Jury.
No, Jury, come back. No.
You can't resign. You're not allowed to. Okay.
Any more questions, guys? We have like 11 minutes more for the open forum for this one.
Yeah. And of course, guys, if your bandwidth permits, kuan kayo. We really appreciate you guys turning on your cameras. Kay lonely be ang camera tulod diri ang makita na og na. Di mi kita ninyo. So makita na tas dalan kami pwede mi ninyo matulis pero kamo di na mo matulis, di ba?
Yeah.
Slight
Hi,
translation
Jerry.
because we have a lot of outside Cebu participants tala.
Hindi namin kayo mapapatay. My
You can
Tagalog
say
is so bad.
Okay, I'll translate it for you. Sana was saying that she wants to see your faces so she could hold you up in real life.
Hold you up.
Oh,
We have a
there's
question by Carlos. Yeah.
Yeah. Will there be any GDSC face-to-face events this semester? I'm guessing that's for GDSC San Carlos.
Yeah. We really this is the only thing I can assure for now. We're really trying to push for an F2F event this semester since we're slowly trying to open up here in San Carlos. So as you know, we're already 55-45 in terms of face-to-face and online classes. But the struggle when it comes to hosting face-to-face events in our school is very how do you say this? It's a huge struggle. That's what I say the least.
Oh.
But we're trying our very best to host a face-to-face event. To give you a little spoiler, we're planning something big by May or June. Hopefully face-to-face. So just stay tuned for that na lang.
DevCon Day.
Yeah. You're the one who talked with them, Jerry. Any news about that for DevCon here in Cebu?
I think for the first, I think what we talked about was helping kids learn coding and robotics. And they'll provide all the tools and venue, so we just have to teach.
Okay.
But for face to face, we have to do the paperwork, and they were willing to give the speakers.
So hopefully, guys, crossing our fingers, all those face-to-face events will push through for this year.
Right. For org leads, by the way, a very good way on spending your winnings from the solutions challenge is for your org to hold events. Am I right? Just in case you're having budget issues.
Yes.
That's another push to join the solutions challenge.
Eldridge giving Korako tips.
You gotta do what you gotta do. The world isn't straight.
9 more minutes, guys.
Yeah, guys. Sige lang.
Since nobody is asking questions, let's ask them questions. How are you guys doing today?
That's right.
Oh, this is supposed to be a talk show? Oh, wasn't informed.
Icebreaker.
Icebreaker.
And then choose one participant ba?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so cold. I need a hug from Zach. Oh, wait lang. If we ask you guys questions, can you unmute? Okay, that makes
Need
skipper.
cuddle body, cuddle weather.
Oh, she. Oh, and there's another question
There's
from
an actual
Carlo.
question. Yeah.
How can I track my movement from a website?
Wait. It's for my course related to...
Jerry, have you done this before? But the only idea I have when it comes to data mining, when tracking movement from a site, is you just check for changes every
doing
day.
that.
Like check for changes on a specific interval. What I actually did this for a project before, using web scraping. What I did was I had an interval set for every 24 hours to check for changes on a site. Then using scraping technologies like Selenium. I use Python for that, so that's why I use Selenium for it. Hopefully that answers your question, Carlos. But I think there's a better way to do it. It's just I did it that way. It's the most primitive way I could think of right now. Passively. Jerry, any idea? I'm not that well versed in web development.
I haven't tried tracking. Tracking passively.
Like without using a script though, like without using a script to run like on an interval.
So for every button click, yeah,
No, like changes though to a website. Like example, let's give like an example. You have a static site, then so like a piece of text changes, then a piece of text changes. I guess that's what it's trying to track if there's a change sa site mismo.
Mm, I think. I mean, for example, if you're building websites like with React or Next, the server reloads. It gives you a timestamp of whether something changed. Pero I'm not quite sure how you're going to implement that, like as a system or as an application. Data mining course. Why data mine?
Oh, where are you taking data mining, by the way, Carlos?
Ito.
Diba you're a USC student? Where are you taking it right now? That's cool that you guys are getting into data.
CS?
Yeah, I think he's CS. As far as I know, his name is very familiar.
Wow.
Stalker. Stalker
Stalker.
vibes.
The Discord. What
Kabalo
do you
ba ka? Machika ako since nobody's asking pa. Zach's very creepy in a way. He gets information you don't want people to know.
Guys, what he's trying to say is I found her birth year by just checking our directory. I don't know what's wrong.
No, it wasn't there at directory. It was Facebook.
Wait, somebody asked me a question to DM. What's the minimum number of members in a team? As far as I know, there's only a maximum, which is 4. There were solution challenge winners before that only had 2 people, so you don't really have to have 4 people. If you guys really want the $3,000 to yourselves, you can just have lesser people in your team if you want to.
Yes.
Then yeah, that's all. I hope that answers your question.
Here.
Easy RTX 4090.
Easy RTX, dog. Or I just learned na sinulog tickets are like 500 pesos. So like, that's how
There's
many
tickets?
Apparently.
There's tickets?
How much
Hell.
tax will BIR take from the price? Okay, that's a very good question actually. So in the terms and conditions, there's a section for tax. So it depends on the country of origin of the winner. And I'll just quote what they're trying to say, okay? Because I'm not really I'm not an expert when it comes to tax law, but I hope some of you will get to understand this. So payments to potential winners are subject to the express requirement that they submit to Google all documentation requested to permit it to comply with all applicable state, federal, local, and foreign tax reporting and withholding requirements. All prizes will be net of any taxes Google is required by law to withhold. So all taxes imposed on prizes are the sole responsibility of the winners. So if there's a tax imposed on your winnings, then Google will not shoulder it. It will be subtracted from your winnings. So in order to receive a prize, potential winners must submit the tax documentation requested by Google or otherwise required by applicable law to Google. The potential winners are responsible for ensuring that they comply with all applicable tax laws and filing requirements. And if a potential winner fails to provide such documentation or comply with such laws, the prize may be forfeited and Google may select an alternative potential winner. So get your taxes in order, guys.
My God. Yeah.
I searched, by the way, how much is the tax here in the Philippines. They're deducting 61K from the winning prize.
Is it a percentage, Eldridge?
Yeah, it's 20%.
20?
Yeah, for 200 to 400,000, it's 20% of what you got. In other words, New Zealand is the way to go if you wanna, I'm not saying anything, pero New Zealand is a really good place, or Switzerland.
Eldridge, we're here to encourage, not discourage.
Yeah, we're encouraging. We're encouraging. It's bad
Yeah,
to
and
not pay your taxes.
I think we're
people.
already short on time. Thank you to our
Right.
speakers for, I know. Yeah, our speakers, of course, Jury and Zach, for taking time out of your day for answering and sharing your knowledge regarding the solutions challenge for the upcoming months. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Now we go to a very good speaker that I know. He's a Google certified project manager with 4+ years of experience working in multiple industries. He's a product designer and a chess enthusiast with a burning passion of solving big problems with data and technology. He's the founder of Datos Pilipinas in terms of Datos Filipinas. In terms of competition experience, he was the GDSC Diliman Solutions Challenge 2021 Grand Champion, SAP Hack to Build Hackathon Champion, and the second placer for the National Economic Summit Case competition. And he's also one of the in-house solution challenges mentors in GDSC San Carlos. Woo! Please help me welcome Jerel John Velarde. Everyone, round of applause.
Thank
Hello
you for the
again,
warm welcome.
Gerald.
Hi,
Welcome
it's good to be back. Hi, Stella. Hi, Aldridge. Hi, Zach. Who was it who introduced me? Si Aldridge ba yun or si Jury? Wasn't sure kanino yung mic.
It's me.
Aldridge. Okay. Thank you for the warm introduction. Yeah, so my FB name is what you can see on your screen as well. But connect with me via LinkedIn as well. I'll show you a QR code and a link later on. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Hi, Alessandra. Wait. Okay. Sige. Yan. Can you guys see my screen without any interruption?
All clear, all clear.
G? Can I see the chat?
Yes, you can see
Okay,
it now.
sige. Ayos, sige. So, apologies lang, naubusan ako ng ink kagabi. But, makita nyo din sa presentation na to, it's like, I'm experimenting with a new style, then the design, and hopefully it clicks. I'm open for feedback. Anyway, so I'm Jerel. Thank you for the warm introduction earlier. In this talk, I'd like to talk about innovation, idea generation, and hackathons. So as Zach mentioned earlier, one of the most difficult parts of joining a competition is like deciding what problem you and your team will commit to solve. So with this in mind, I'm going to focus my talk on like how we did this, like how we did this in our previous competitions, and some tips along the way so that we'd be able to share our experience in joining competitions. So yep. So my goal is to help you make the most of your next hackathon. Okay, I'm gonna do that by sharing 3 core ideas and 2 main action points. But before that, I'm gonna start. Why do you even want to join hackathons? Why bother? So hackathons can be stressful. Hackathons can take a lot of your time. Depending on the duration of the hackathon, it could range from like 1 day to the weekend to a series of weekends to a month. So the one that we've experienced, actually the ones that I'm more familiar with are the longer type of hackathons, the ones that typically take a month. But there are hackathons that you can build a team and like ideate and prototype within the weekend. So why should you even bother with hackathons? So for those who joined the previous session with the slide to PM, slide into my PMs, you basically know my background as well. So I'm an informal learner. I haven't enrolled in a formal 4-year degree course. I basically use hackathons as a way to test myself if I'm capable of implementing what I learned through online courses and like leading teams, building design projects, and like ideating. And I encourage you guys to do the same as well. So hackathons are a great opportunity that encapsulates a real world project where you guys can start from ideation down to execution. It varies from competition to competition, but I'm a big advocate for hackathons as this actually helped me land my current job, which I've just been promoted into like an innovation product manager. Something that I attribute my experience and my core competencies to joining hackathons and like ideating solutions. So, yep, hackathons, you might not even win the hackathons, but the things that you learn would take you a long way. So as mentioned earlier, just gonna briefly go through them. 2022 has been my most innovative year. Started it off by winning the Diliman Solution Challenge. We were actually building the solution like at the start of actually a few days after Odette. So it was like a huge challenge. And I'm gonna share a little bit more about the story along this talk. NES case competition is not really a hackathon, but it's also a team competition where ideation is crucial to. Well, I believe the ideation and the teamwork is crucial to for that particular competition. And then most recently, I've won a competition for my company. This is actually the first competition we've won. It's a SAP Hack to Build low code, no code competition around robotics process automation. And it basically made everyone in the company proud. Basically won against big corporations like EY, Bosch, and like big names in the IT consultancy firm. And like a ragtag team of like 4 people was able to make a dent and win. So the skills that you learn in joining hackathons accumulate like the more that you join and the more that you enjoy it. So the more that you join, you build experience, you build the skills, and you can actually apply it for multiple competitions or even like in your professional experience. So, okay, moving forward. I'm going to share about like 3 core ideas, and I'm going to structure them as a why don't you da 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 da. So let's start with, since you're joining a hackathon, why don't you build something that you are willing to build even if the competition gets canceled tomorrow? This particular idea is very crucial in like I believe in like the 3 competitions I've joined last year, because this allows you to make an extra effort without feeling like this but ko ba to sinasayang yung oras ko dito. This is something that I want to build regardless if the competition gets canceled tomorrow, or if the basically it's just taking yourself out of the competition. So one key example of this was Veripol. I'm going to show our ideation phase for this as well. But Veripol is our mobile application. This is our entry in winning the Diliman Solution Challenge last year. It's a mobile application that empowers users with the data they need to make informed decisions during the elections. So we had this chance to build this. It was a pretty unique opportunity, as basically the stars aligned that timing na yung taon na yun was the election year. So as new voters, this is basically an initial problem I had as well. This is a problem I want to solve, and I really had a problem like analyzing analyzing who to vote for, like taking emotions and like qualitative stuff out of the picture, and like, I just want to look at numbers to make my decision making a lot faster. We found that really challenging, and it was really worth it to solve as well. And this is actually an active effort, still a bit iceboxed. We're waiting for the next election, or like building the team and building the expertise so that we'd be able to make more impact the next year round. Anyway, so the reason why we chose this was our team was we were pretty young. We were the first time voters, and then as the competition grew, we realized that as we built our application, we realized how big the problem was. We were just seeing the tip of the iceberg. But luckily, we all we all were passionate about the problem, and we know that we were making an impact. So regardless of the competition that we were in, we really wanted to launch this as soon as possible. We really wanted to test it. We want to learn from this and like try to solve this real problem that we have. Because one of the things that we've discovered, we have around like 40 to 50,000 officials running for that particular election last, when was it? May or around that time. And 18,000 of them would be selected to occupy seats of power. So that's a lot of data. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of candidates to consider, and like politicians and families to consider. So we also realized talking to people that there's a reverse, that they are actually gathering data around our voters, but there's no team gathering data about our politicians. So we wanted to be that team. We want to empower our users with the power of data. So how this affected how we were able to push through with this particular project, it was one of the most difficult projects that we had for competitions. Actually, it came to tears, and like our friendships were like in the question. It was really tough not to commit, and like we there were situations that we were actually really trying, hey, can we push this through? But we were passionate about the problem, so we pushed through, and that really paid off. So that's something that you should probably select for like the ideas that you want to consider. Okay, so with this, we were able to build a community of data-driven people. You can see some familiar faces here. So thank you everyone for joining, as well as this was a national team. Some from I haven't even met yet, but some I had a chance to meet last year, so I'm really happy that happened. But during that time, we were really passionate in solving this problem. Everyone was working together, and like this is something that probably one of the peak moments in building Veripal. Okay, so next idea. Why don't you, since you're building something that you probably don't have the best idea of it for, why don't you get out of your room and talk to the people who are smarter than you? So what do I mean by this? So use this competition, use whatever you're doing as a reason, as a means to build bridges to like the key people that are relevant to your application. I believe Zach or someone else mentioned, Jury mentioned it earlier, that it is important to test with our users, and this step doesn't actually limit to our users. It also could help you in your professional career. So while we were building Veripal, we were just students. We were learning a lot of stuff that we need to learn just to fill in the roles that were needed to build that platform. And we identified that we needed some help. So the things that we did, we talked to our potential users. Some of them were actually inside of the team. We were our potential users as well. But it's really important to go outside and like so that you won't have a narrowed focus. You would build a more general solution that more people would be able to use. Subject matter experts, we suggest you talk to like the people who studied this for a living. So we were building an app and tackling a problem in political science or like in the political field. None of us studied pol sci, none of us were subject matter experts, but we needed the expertise. So the way that we address this problem is we talk to the people who we talk to the authorities, we talk to the people who've dedicated their lives around this problem. Lastly, mentors. So I was learning project management, I was learning leadership, my team's learning different things like development of Flutter, with development for data applications like data engineering and like cleaning and processing, and also for design. So my role as leader there was I also look for mentors for our team so that we'd be able to quickly bounce off some questions when we're stuck. And you have to identify that different roles must have different mentors. I believe Zach is doing this in their mentorship program, which is I believe something that is would make stuff a lot easier for those who are planning to join the competition. But basically, once you're building a solution, this doesn't limit to like hackathons or whatnot. Look for people who are more experienced than you. Look for people who are willing to help. And there are a lot of platforms to do this. I really recommend ADP List, something that has impacted my 2022 a lot as well. So, yep. So I believe this is one of the main reasons we won for the Dilemma Solution Challenge. We went out of our comfort zone and just went through the offices and we talked to the subject matter people, talk to the people who know more about the problem than us. So one of the person that we were able to talk to here was the regional director for Comelec, I think for Region 6, and he was a authority in this process as he has served for Comelec for around 20 to 30 years, and we were able to leverage that experience and integrate that in our building of our app. So there are multiple ways to do this. You don't actually have to technically go out of your room, especially if the people that you're trying to reach are not reachable like physically with the reasonable constraints. Like if the people you want to talk to are across the world or across the country, you can actually just set a call and just talk to them and they are willing to listen. So we also had mentors. Shout out to like the previous winners, the 21 winners of the Google Solution Challenge. Gian Ashado was like a huge factor of like helping us lead the team as well and like ideate our potential solutions as well. So these are the mentors that you should potentially look for. And you'll find once you reach out there, the people are really willing to help. You just have to make the first step and try to ask what you need from them and like make that connection. So We talked from multiple agencies, the NLG, House of Representatives, COMELEC, PSA, and like even the Sangguniang, and like we wanted to get a 360 view of the problem from the participants, from the candidates, from the neutrals, the authorities, and this would help us solidify our understanding of the problem and be able to build a solution as well. So I for the impact for the session, basically what would you constitute as high effort, would you constitute as high impact, on low effort and low impact. Tapos once that's done, discuss how we're going to do the session. I typically would suggest to set a 1 to 2 hour call with the team and try to structure it that you have a session where you're going to work together alone, like like specifically for phase 2. So the research and idea phase. So once everyone's familiar with the parameters for the high effort and high impact, and its inverse, let's proceed to like the research and idea. So give everyone some time to conduct some research and come up with like 3 to 5 ideas that they want to potentially solve, or like 3 to 5 problems that they want to solve. So typical 15 to 30 minutes. I think that's even a bit long, but just play around with time constraints. And then step number 3, the goal here is to one by one, everyone must be able to talk. Everyone must be able to discuss and present their idea. And the way that we did it here was we allowed everyone to talk like once, or like they're presenting their sticky note, like, hey, this idea, I believe this is somewhere around here for effort, somewhere around here for impact. This is the reason why, and this is the challenge that I believe would go through. And we went that through all of the ideas presented. So after that, we went to vote. After the discussion, we need to decide on what idea you guys are going to. So the reason why the idea creation, why this step takes long, and I believe you should invest time here, is if you do this right, you won't have to look back like later on in the development phase. I've experienced this in like some of our field competitions across the years. Was one of the reasons that teams fail is that they lose hope because they realize that the problem that they're solving is too difficult or too hard to implement, or too far from the team that the competition is solving, and they decide na, hey, let's not build this na lang, or they lose motivation, and that's like a really icky feeling that you really would want to avoid. So yep, we ended up choosing something I believe this was the highest impact and the highest effort in the mood boarding session. And one of the key benefits of this as well, when I mentioned earlier, is you'll be able to gauge the energy of your team, because in this particular team, we were all passionate about solving these problems. It was the election was coming near, and we believe this is a really problem that we have to solve. So despite being high effort, despite being something that would take our weekends, our free time from work, from school, from studying, from family, we all agreed this early on that this will take that time that we would typically have for ourselves. And even when it came to exams and like crisis period during the some student crisis, I believe you guys are familiar with, we pushed through because we agreed before we even built the problem or designed the first page that this is going to be difficult, but this is going to be worth it because of the impact that it will make. So lastly, have fun. So I want to end in a light note that competitions, hackathons, especially if you're playing to win or like competing to win, because you could actually join a competition to just have fun. And I believe this is one of the beauties of like joining a hackathon or competitions, is you define what winning looks like. For us in this particular competition, most of our team members were really competitive. We really wanted to win, and we knew it was going to be tough. But an important factor of it is you must learn how to have fun despite the difficulties that you're going to face. Because even if it's tough, it doesn't have to be miserable. You can. It's going to some parts that we actually had cried in our friendship for challenge. Some of the hidden things from like the competition and awards. These are like the difficulties in like really trying to compete. But looking back, we all laugh around it. Like, we realize na nakaya nga namin yun. Ano na lang kaya to? And like facing problems, yung competitions, we're now actually able to win. Like one of my team members recently won as well in a solo competition. Ooh, go Lion. And like that's something that nakaya nga namin tong napakahirap na high effort, high impact na idea. Ano na lang kaya tong current na we believe this is about a lot easier. So, yep, it will get tough, but you don't have to be miserable. So, again, you define what winning is. So, you should start with like even at the start of like the team forming phase, you should try to get to know your team and like identify why are they joining the competition. Are they trying to practice a skill? Are they trying to master a particular tech stack, or they want to test it out, or they want to explore a new field? Basically, identifying your common whys helps you navigate forward as a team and makes the building process a lot easier throughout the competition range. So, yep, identify your why. It's okay. Everyone has a different reason for joining competition and competing. For fun, for exploration, for winning, for I just want to test this new technology, new tech stack. I just want to test my leadership skills. I just want to test if I can actually build this thing. Or I'm just testing kasi wala akong other thing better to do this weekend. And I believe this will be a productive thing. Everywhere is valid. You just have to know it so that you'd be able to negotiate with yourself when the competition gets tough. So, yep, I believe someone asked earlier, so please do connect with me. Jerel and Velarde, and like here are my contacts. Handing it over back to you, Zach or Eldridge.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Jerel, for that wonderful talk about hackathon and the beginning of doing something. I find it really difficult, to be honest, starting out, because it's really hard to get the components to actually start doing something. I believe it's the same for Zach as well, right?
Yeah, personally, yeah, like example for like my own personal projects, even outside of a hackathon setting, all of us are trying to solve our own problems through like our own initiatives, right? Even like through technology, especially for those taking up computer related courses. I know some of you have been trying to solve problems, like your own problems, through technology. So I find it very hard to think of ideas to like for projects that are worth my time. So it was very nice to think of to listen about the impact effort matrix and how I can use that to and leverage that in a team setting to pick which projects are definitely worth our time and effort. Right, Eldridge?
It's true. That is true. Now, thank you so much for the wonderful talk, by the way, Sir.
Now
Jerel.
we proceed with the open forum, I think. So our current 68 participants, if you have any questions o mga tanong para sa ating resource speaker, now is your chance. For our participants in Zoom, you can just choose to send in your questions through the chat, or you may use the raise hand feature and just wait na we acknowledge you so you can make out your questions. So let's begin.
By the way, Sir Jerel, I have a question. I personally, how you said it's best to talk and get to know your teammates. Obviously, everyone will have like such a strong drive at the beginning, but that tends to die out like as the project moves on. How would you deal with that?
Yeah, I think that's a typical scenario, especially if you don't know the team well. This is the first time you're working together. And I was actually afraid of this particular scenario in the National Economic Summit. It was a really weird a curveball for me to join something not computer related, not design, leadership, or tech related. It's about economics, something that I was interested in. However, I didn't formally study as well. And I just wanted to learn, like, am I able to apply the stuff that I read and stuff like that. So I knew no one in this field. Everyone that became my team was actually the first time that I contacted, first time that got to know them as well. And I believe some concepts around like team formation would apply here. So I forgot who was it, but some stages. There are some, I believe, 4 stages in like the formation of a team. Like the formation, basically, it's the steps that the team has to take before you get to perform. So early on, I realized in that competition we did not have the same level of we did not have the same why. So luckily we had a bigger team compared to hackathons. I believe this was a case competition. We basically have to study study the field and like present our case and like propose a project. We don't have to implement it. Thank God. I don't think we will be able to do that as well. So like most of it were like policy suggestions as well. So basically, to get to that question, the way I handled in that competition would be trying to identify in that team who has the common why. So, like in that particular group, we had some teams who just wanted to explore. Some members wanted to really win, and I was afraid of this particular scenario happening in this particular team. So I asked them early on, guys, what do you want? What are you guys aiming for in this competition? Do you guys want to win? Are you guys exploring? What's your energy level? I believe I also made a chart or like a line in Figma. I just asked them like, place your sticker here kung gaano ka energetic, gaano ka, ano yung nag-drive sa'yo? Like winning ba, exploration ba, or like just testing out, or just like in the middle, hindi ka sure ganyan. So once that gets visible, like hopefully there are competitive people in your team, you'd be able to tap onto that and make that like the core team and the core project team. But that doesn't mean that you won't trust like those who don't have the same why. You just have to learn how to delegate like according to the reason that they're there. So I just want to explore. So hey, I believe this task is best for you. So hey, try to do this. Like I want to win. So okay, I'm gonna give you a more demanding task because you have the same why as me. You want to win. So that allows you to conserve your energy, because basically everyone here is not being paid. Everyone is here for fun. And once it gets miserable, or that's the point where team loses motivation, some team members quit, or just goes AFK, or like ghosts you. So learning this early on, getting to know your team members early on is a crucial step just to hopefully tackle this problem. Yep, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank
I
you so
actually
much.
have a similar question to what you just answered. I was pretty curious how you like manage the team dynamic, like who does this, who does that. But then it was answered by
Yeah.
what's that? Analyzing their strengths. But like, let's move on to another question from Mr. Christian De Jesus. Is it possible to enjoy the hackathon as a zero knowledge beginner, or is it an IT industry outside, or even an IT industry outsider? Are there any disciplines outside technology to work on in a hackathon? There's a couple of questions here. Yeah.
Awesome. Nice question, Christian. So I remember my first hackathon in the height of the pandemic. It was like, I believe 2020 or early 2021. We sucked. So we joined the competition of, this was, I believe, a big competition in, a lot of people joined. It was held by ADMU GDS, the largest GDSC at that time. I think they still are, but they held this really big event, and like we joined this event. Like imagine this: I ideated a solution. We know what we wanted to build. No one knows how to design. No one knows how to code Flutter. No one knows how to project manage. We knew nothing. But hey, sige, let's try this. In the middle of the 2-day event, we decided to shift. I believe in the midday we decided to shift tech stacks. That's how new we were, like from Flutter to like React, and like since we were both learning or noobs for both, it doesn't really matter for us. So like, sige, let's stop kasi parang may libraries dependency here na easier to do in React. So like, oh, let's do that. I remember staying up, powered by Red Bull. Tawag nila na, okay, I know we're not gonna win, but someone has to stay up and like know if like we make it to somewhere na ano, na like the next step. And I had the guts to ask the competitors, like the organizers, like, hey, pwede na kami matulog. We had no sleep for the past 2 days. Like, or are we calling for the next step? And like, yeah, pwede na matulog. It's like, parang insult pa nga na. Pwede na kami matulog kasi di na ako qualified. So like, and like, yeah, so it's something that zero knowledge, zero. This actually pushed us to study. Like after that competition, like we took like a few months break just to study on the things that na we identified we want to learn in that competition. So the two team members learned, my other two team members learned Flutter and like Python's yung isa, and I learned project management and design. And from there, give or take a year or so, we were able to develop it enough to win competitions and get jobs. Actually, like two of my team members just got their jobs like the past 2 months, and like that's something that we all of us were thankful that we had that experience. Now from zero experience trying to build something and like facing a lot of like hurdles, like parang we were walking in the hallway tas lahat may pader, hindi na makita, like bug ano yun. Like something na like new feels ganun ba. So yep, you can join. It's going to be a lot tougher because it's something na new, but make that your why. Now you want to explore this particular you want to explore the IT field, you want to explore this particular tech skill. You don't have to work in you don't have to be devy or tech. You can do like design, project management, leadership, or like take those roles. However, those are a bit harder to define than development and design, but those are available as well. So yep, hope to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm not sure. Right. Anyways, moving on, we have another question by our beloved GDSC San Carlos lead, Zach Ryan himself. Since he suggested going for ADP list and seeking mentorship, did you have any criteria when it came to picking which mentor you think could help your team?
Oh, okay. So if you have a platform like ADP list, I let your team go through that platform, let them choose kung ano sino yung ano nila, pick nila na mentor. I know people struggling like looking for mentors, like talking to people, like asking for advice ka dun. But luckily for me, I did not have that problem. I was like, I can speak na there are two types of people. I believe that like there's soft in the middle as well. But I suggest you just look for ADP like look for people who are in the role that you want to be in, or the role that you are currently in, but you're like really early in that role. So like recently I've just been promoted for product management, and this is a different setting for like corporate style. So actually I've set like calls tomorrow and last week just to talk to people from like senior product managers for like TikTok, and like there are a lot of people there who are really passionate, like senior product managers and like design and whatnot. So design, development, product management, leadership, like sales development. There are a lot of people there you can talk to. So yep, I believe you just have to explore. So I don't believe I believe I did not give a satisfactory answer here. So I'm just gonna say now how I did this was I just booked everyone who confirmed. I just met with a lot of people. So yeah, that worked for me. I was able to get like a general perspective of where I am and where I want to be. So yep, 100% suggest.
Unmuted ko ato. Okay, thank you for that one. I think we can ask the next question from Jury. Are there any books or resources that you can recommend relating to designing a project or ideation in general?
Ooh, designing a project and ideation. Books. I haven't finished it, but Started Why is a good book. For design, I believe there are books like Sprint. I actually, uh, it was just actually gifted to me this summer. Right? This Sprint book was a good start for like the design and ideation. Uh, for courses, I think discovering opportunity on developing opportunity by Wharton Online sa Coursera is a good place to start as well. But for designing a project, I believe the next speaker would be better person to answer that question. As, it's been a while since I've designed. But yeah, Sprint by Jake Knapp is a great book, regardless if you're a designer or not. I believe that's something where you can find a lot of value in. So yep.
Okay, thank you, Jerel. Um, are there any are there any more questions for our speaker? Okay. Ay kabalaka guys, Gerald doesn't also bite. He's like Zach. O katawa man ka Zach, mupaakday ka.
No.
Okay. Sprint by Jake Knapp. Okay, I will try to like look for that. Is there an illegal? Nagtarang na talaga for illegal ebook copy for that one. Yalahi yung ganahan pa ka. Guys, formal event ito. Hindi tayo mabuting tao tayo. Brian is an illegal ebook. He's not here right now. Sad.
Yeah, actually, Brian suggested that book to me before. It's actually, I read like a snippet of it, and I think it's really good. If you manage to read through the entire book, I just don't have a copy yet. That's why I only read a snippet. Pa. Oh, Brian has an illegal ebook.
Ooh.
Yeah. 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 Anyways, yeah, same. Regarding books, by the way, just a random question. I'm sure I don't know if this is you, Jerel. I don't know if you've tried it, but there will be times like during a project that I'm doing, I'll have self doubts about my capabilities. I don't like if you have any tips on how to deal with that, that would be great.
Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty common, especially for like long projects, and especially when the problem gets bigger and bigger, and the team. In my case, when the team motivation drops, that's something that I should be really wary of as someone who's taking a more active role in the leadership position. So there are questions. That's something that you'd commonly encounter, shadow you have to face and box with. Are you really competent enough, or like how are you going to handle this? And words that clicked for me here was like, if you weren't competent enough, you wouldn't be in this situation. So just deal with it, and like that's how it just is. And if it's in a hackathon event where basically there's a low entry and you can't use that, basically that's what you're here for. You're here to develop that skill. You're here to test if you actually mastered that stack or that methodology. You're here to develop that particular part of yourself. So you should be compassionate with yourself as well. Na you're still young, you're still developing, and you should just embrace that. And even if you're developed person, they still struggle with these situations. So like just acknowledge that, and like know that your feelings are valid, and just soldier on despite that. It goes away once you find that moment where you're unblocked. So yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We have another question from Zach D.I. Sir Jerel. Some tips usually given to me for ideations are to think of problems that I'm currently going through. However, I find it a struggle to think of problems that have an impact outside of myself? Any suggestions to gather problems and think of solutions that would have a wider impact, especially for solutions challenge that aims for the UN SDGs?
So I think one of the hardest brainstorming sessions I had was for the same competition, the Diliman, I don't know, the Google Developer Solution Challenge, like the main competition. The reason that I found it difficult was the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, are really wide. So ang daming problems in that regard, and ang uh, daming opportunities that daming problems you could try to solve, and daming problems that could be ideas that could be a waste of your time. So it's a really difficult. For me, it was a really difficult uh, competition to ideate for. But for this, if basically the problem that Zach pointed out is if you're currently you want to stick to a problem that you know, this is actually general advice, like write about what you know, like stick with what you know, and like try to master it. And I believe it's a really valid advice. However, if there's a case that it's hard to relate with the SDGs or the relevant events, try to search about the news, or like try to look at like pressing issues that if you could brainstorm a solution for it. It might be too difficult, but a source of idea. If that's not if that doesn't click, try to talk to people, like people close to you who can, what are their most pressing problems. Try The more you talk to people, the more problems you encounter. It's just like picking the right one that fits your criteria. So it's like tossing a dart in a Venn diagram of like, here are the problems I can solve, here are the problems that are relevant to competition, here are the problems that my team wants to solve, and the more that you throw, you're just trying to look for that sweet spot where it hits all three. Tapos, yeah, I believe that's a way you could address this problem. Try to, it doesn't even have to be grand. Even yung one of the winners last year solved it doesn't have to be like extravagant, like trying to solve like a global issue or like a national issue, like the voters problem. You can even try to solve an individual person's problem that a lot of people have. So like last year, the Blossom app that was presented kanina, that solved a problem that a lot of people have, but it was like an individual problem, a more personal one. So the way you uncover that would be probably one of your team members has the problem, or the people close to you has that problem. So there are hidden problems that are we weren't even able to see that problem last year. I believe we weren't the right people to even see or tackle that problem, because our team was probably composed by our team was composed mostly by men. So isa lang yung babae, and I wasn't able to voice this concern out. But yeah, so talking to people would be, or like composing your team, like, and this is why parang the composition of team matters as well. Na if you're familiar with the like minds move faster, but divergent groups, diverse teams are more innovative. This is one of the reasons why we basically are more exposed to more problems and more point of views that you could probably solve that particular problem.
I actually agree with that kasi wala lang. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you from Zach, by the way. I have a. Wouldn't it be better? This is also a question. Wouldn't it be better to go out there and actually experience people with problems, like more of a community outreach, for us to get a wider picture of what the problem is within that local community? Yeah.
Better yet, be the problem to solve. So
Yeah.
So any other questions from the 67 participants, guys?
Yeah, maybe a question about how to start something,
We have around 5 minutes left, 5 to 10 minutes left for the open forum with Jerel. Since hackathon ideation is a very is a topic that's rarely talked about when I join hackathon speaker sessions. But it's actually one of the hardest processes to go through when um joining a hackathon, like from the start of like creating a solution and to building a team that has the same motivation as you to push forward in the competition.
That's right. I also have the same problem, really. I think it's a general problem at this point. When starting out, just finding the right members for the idea you have or the problem that you're trying to tackle.
Yeah, like finding the right footing and the right they call that momentum to keep the project going. Because yeah, what regarding what related to what you guys talked about earlier, burnout and um members ghosting is a very common problem. So yeah, it's very hard to keep up momentum and to prevent burnout. But yeah, it depends on why you guys are doing this, which is what Jerel emphasized earlier.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you so much, our, our wonderful speaker, Sir Jerel. Because of that wonderful talk and really a lot of insights on how to start doing something, we at GDSC San Carlos would like to give Sir Jerel a certificate.
So the certificate of appreciation is given to Mr. Jerel John Velarde, our first guest speaker, for imparting his valuable insights and inspirations in Solutions Challenge info session on this 13th day of January 2023, signed by the 3 GDSC CTO, Jury Kevin Lastre, advisor Ian Jason C. Vilayo, and Zach Ryan Machacon, GDSC San Carlos Lead 2022-2023. Again, Mr. Jerel, thank you.
Thanks, Stella. Thanks, Zach. Thanks. Ian.
I'll send over the certificate through your email later, Jerel. Thank you so much for imparting your insights regarding this. It's actually been very helpful. Okay, a lot of people have been requesting this topic, especially for the info session. So thank you so much.
Anytime. Looking forward to your solution, guys.
No problem. So for those who are joining Solutions Challenge, Jerel is one of our mentors. So we can always hit him up for any mentorship sessions in the future. So you're up for that, right, Jerel? Yeah.
Zach pressure number 2. Zach pressure number 2. Of course.
But yeah, he's one of our mentors. He's one of our
I'm
mentors,
excited
guys.
for yeah.
Thank you so much. So, Eldridge and Stella, take it away.
So our next speaker is a man who enjoys designing interfaces, building brands, and co-organizing local events like the UXPH Roadshow and Google I/O in Cebu. In his spare time, he loves attending tech design conferences and going for walks with his dog. He was a product designer of Abstract, a digital product design agency with a knack for UI development for venture-backed seed stage startups in Southeast Asia, and was also the inaugural Google Developer Student Club's San Carlos lead last 2019. A current UI and UX designer of Deskimo, a leading workplace management system for hybrid organizations worldwide. Help me welcome our Design Sprint speaker, Mr. Bruce Vincent Alturas. Hello, Mr. Bruce.
Hey, everyone. So glad to be back. It's been a while. I've been a part of DSC's activities, so thank you again, DSC, and also Zach, for reaching out and inviting me to speak. So let me start first by sharing my screen. Oh, wait. I'll be back because there's security problem with my Mac.
No worries.
It's okay. Since wala pa si Sir Bruce, do you guys want to win prizes? Ganyan ko ganan mga tanaan ni actually. Ganan mo
Speak
prizes.
English tala.
Ay, okay, hala. I've been dying to ask people this. Do you guys want to win prizes? Kasi I'm not that fluent in Tagalog. O, diba? At least we have one person who's interested. Dili day one. More than one day. Ay, sorry, I'm too bisdak to straight English. Okay. Okay. If you were listening to my brief introduction to Mr. Bruce's Mr. Bruce no. Yeah, Mr. Bruce's introduction. Okay, let me just ask you at what company is Mr. Bruce the current UI and UX designer of? Again, what company is Mr. Bruce the current UI and UX designer of?
And so,
okay, he's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Zach, can you co-host me? All right, thank you.
There we go.
Sige lang, well, Mr. Bruce is trying to share his screen. Okay, let's just wait for the answer. Hala, nobody's answering. Ako na lang ni ang price.
What's the question? Because maybe I might win the prize.
No, that's foul.
It's foul. Why? Okay.
Okay, we have the no, the question is, what company are you the current UI and UX designer of? Yeah. Oh, ala.
Somebody got the right answer already.
Yeah,
It's
ganina
Philip.
pa.
Philip, Deskimo.
Congratulations, Philip. Just message Zach and pressure him to give you the prize. Again, Mr. Bruce Vincent Alturas. Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you, Stella. Hi everyone. So before we'll formally start, let me reintroduce myself again. So my name is Bruce. I am currently a UI UX designer at Deskimo, but previously I worked at Abstract Digital PH. So Abstract is a digital agency that specializes in UI UX development and product design for venture-backed seed stage startups in Southeast Asia. And just to mention a few, here are a few of the projects that I did with Abstract. And just a year ago, I was recruited by Deskimo. So as mentioned earlier, Deskimo is a leading workspace management platform in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Indonesia. So it offers their customers to book workspaces and at the same time for companies to integrate a workspace management system to let their employees book desk and meeting room within their office buildings. And aside from that, I've co-hosted and participated in events such as the UX Page Roadshow, DevFest Cebu 2019, and I was actually the first DSC lead of University of San Carlos, I think way back 2019. So we were also the first batch of DSC here in the Philippines, and I'm just so glad to be back here. I really appreciate it. So yeah, welcome to Design Sprint 2.0, a quick introduction of the whole process. So what is a design sprint? So a design sprint is a process that teaches how to build, launch, and test a product effectively within a week. So this was originally developed at Google Ventures by Jake Knapp and John Zaretsky. So they're also both of the authors of the book Sprint. And in a nutshell, design sprint is a 4-day process for rapidly solving big challenges, creating new products, or improving existing ones. So the whole point is to validate the idea with a simple prototype, not to build a complete product. And we can summarize it in 3 stages. So agree on a problem worth solving, decide on a solution to try, build a simple test to validate if this solution will solve the problem. So at the end of the week, we'll have decided on a challenge to tackle. We'll have ideated solution to this challenge and tested them with a prototype and received feedbacks just in 4 days. So this is the schedule of the whole design sprint. So on the first day, we have both map and sketch with the experts. And on the second day, we'll have decide and storyboard. And that also still includes the experts. And the third day, we'll have the prototype. And on the fourth day, we'll have the testing. So now let's get ready. But actually, before that, there are things to prepare before diving into a sprint. So first, having a pre-sprint call. So what is this? So in every sprint, there's always be a decider. Decider could be like the CEO or the owner of that product or company. It is where you will interview the decider and have a overview about the product they're trying to tackle or the problem that they're trying to solve. So it helps you as a facilitator get an idea before the actual sprint would happen. And next is to set up the room. So it's always important to set up the room so that you'll be comfortable and make the place productive. Next to that includes preparing your sprint kit, of course. And for remote sprints, you have the Miro board, so it's much convenient, especially if you're handling projects that you cannot see each other. That are some of the people are from the other countries or parts of the Philippines. So yeah, it's very convenient. And here are some few tips as a facilitator. So keep the energy up, remind your team they're doing great, be firm and face the team. So these four tips or principles would help you keep the momentum of the sprint and have a positive and productive outputs. So on day one, so there are two parts. The first part is the map, and then we'll have the sketch. So for the mapping, the big idea or goal here is to understand the problem, the challenges, and to line everyone's understanding through these three activities as you see below. And for the sketch, it is basically gathering the data or information that you've gathered in the first part and sketching a solution or ideas that can solve the problem. So for the first activity, we have the experts interviews and the how might we's. So for the expert interview, the facilitator interviews the expert one at a time. And here are a few questions or samples that might help you. And listen as the experts talk and rewrite the problems as how might we. So we focus on quantity on this part. So the purpose of this is to take the insights and pain points of the interview of the expert and then positively reframe them so that you can turn the problems into opportunities. For example, the problem is they don't know how to sell pancakes or they don't know that we sell pancakes. And then we rewrite it as how might we inform people that we sell pancakes. So with that statement, it helps us to actually look for a solution. And yeah. And once we've done the how might we proceed to voting. So again, each participants will have their time to share their how might we's and post it on the wall. And it will be rearranged in terms of the common theme or patterns. And each person gets the 2 voting dots and the decider gets the 4 dots. And whichever are the highest votes, that will be the chosen how might we's. So the purpose of the voting is to vote on the most important and relevant how might we's for the challenge that would help solve the problem. So we're not trying to narrow down the ideas. I mean, all ideas are important, but we are here rather to quickly prioritize across all opportunities. And now we've already accomplished the how might we's. We'll proceed to the 2-year goal. So in the 2-year goal, we have to be super optimistic. So what would the ideal world look like in 2 years? So this means that what the product or solution or the company would look like in 2 years. So probably in 2 years' time, we'll acquire 2,000 daily active users in our platform, or in 2 years' time, our monthly recurring revenues would quadruple. And again, each person have time to share it and post it on the wall, and then we'll proceed to the voting. So the decider has to vote, or the participants will also have to vote the goal that is very clear and very something that is towards their company. And the purpose of the 2-year goal is to give us a direction on what or how would we come up with the solutions. Or in other words, our solution must move towards our goal. And then we'll proceed to the sprint questions. So the sprint questions is actually the opposite of the 2-year goals. So you have to be super pessimistic. So what things could stop us from getting towards our goal? So we want to find out the most important questions that will keep us on track during the rest of the sprint. So we state this as can we. So can we, and then can we make our pickup process automated and lean? Can we replace the need for washing machines? So this is where we write like our overthinking thoughts. So yeah, and we'll again vote, and whichever is chosen, that would be the sprint questions that are to be used for the design sprint. So basically, these questions are to be answered by our solutions, or in other words, our solutions must answer to these sprint questions, if that makes sense. So in summary, we've already accomplished the 2-year goals, the how might we's, and the sprint questions. So again, the how might we's is to capture and understand all the different perspectives and all the different parts of the challenge. And importantly, it also aligns the team. And the sprint questions, it's all about specifically defining the most important obstacles we need find answers to when we do our user tests. So now let's move on to map and target. So the entire purpose of the map is to pick a target area, one area to focus on for the rest of the sprint. By placing the how might we problem statements, it simply helps us identify a worthy target. So here are the steps making the map. So you have the placeholders: actor, discover, learn, and use, and goal endpoints. So the actor is basically the users or the people involved on the problem or who would use your product. And the goal endpoint is basically what is their goal. And the discovery is how does the customer discover a product. So for example, here we have this customer would discover you by going to the store, or searching you in the web search, or seeing you as a Facebook ad. And how do they learn about you? If you go to the store, they talk to the barista and have a coffee, and then they buy the beans. If you're in a web search, they compare competitors, find your brand, visit your website, choose beans, and buy beans. And here, this is where the how might we's can be used. So we stick them according to which part of the map do they fit in, and select a focal point based on where the how might we's are clustered by encircling the area. So the how might we's is to help identify opportunities along the actor's journey where we can provide a solution to. So it helps us narrow the broad challenge into a specific target. So it helps us identify which do we want to solely focus on. So now we've already done the first part of the day one, which is the mapping. Let us now move on to the part two, which is the sketching. So the sketching starts first with the lightning demos. So the lightning demos is basically to find inspiring examples or features from a product that solve the same or similar challenges. So for example, probably the chat platform or Facebook, because you're making a new Facebook for your school or whatnot. So that is an example. And the next part is the 4-part sketching. So It is writing words allow thoughts to form. So first is the note taking. So the idea behind the note taking is to create ideas or concepts that are aligned on the challenge. So again, you have to write the 2 years goal, the sprint questions, and also your favorite lightning demos. So this helps you align your thoughts. And next is the doodling. So the doodling is where we choose a few demos and align it to the sprint question and the 2 year goal and create graphs and sketches of our ideas. And the crazy eights. This is where things get a bit crazy because for the word itself, this is where we explore different ways to visualize your idea. So you choose one idea or more, but I prefer to choose one so that you can focus on one. And then you create as much as many or 8 ways to visualize that idea. And next is the 3-step concept. So this 3-step concept is where you get your idea from the crazy 8 and make it more detailed. So this is where you put like information like how it works, what the flow is, and this helps to get everybody's ideas on how to solve the challenges. As you can see, this where they shared their sketch. So now we've already finished day 1. So we have already defined the challenge and also produced solutions. Now let's move on in day 2. So on day 2, it's still divided in 2 parts. So we have the decide, and so the decide is deciding which possible solution or combination of solutions we want to test and try through these 3 activities. Next is the storyboard. So the storyboard, gives a concise view of what the concept could look like once we show it to people and test them out. So the concept voting. So the concept voting is where you've posted your 3-part sketches and people would unlimitedly vote in every sketches. So the goal here is to vote on every idea you think is a good way to answer one of the sprint questions. So this helps you to create a heat map, which later on would have a purpose later on. And next is the solution presentation. So the solution presentation is when the facilitator would go in each sketches and read it out loud to everyone and then share the whole process and the whole idea. So the purpose here is to align the understanding of concepts. And next is the straw poll. So earlier in the concept voting, there was a heat map. So that helps during the straw poll get the influence the voting of the decider when he chose which among the sketches should be the one that would be prototyped and validated to get feedback from real users. So now it doesn't necessarily mean that only one sketch would be used, but you can actually mix and match sketches that would, if only it would make sense. So now we're already done with the first half of day 2. Let's move on to the storyboard. So the storyboarding. So first is the user test flow. User test flow is where we'll create a 6 story steps of the winning solution sketch. This helps us to validate the idea and show users a quick glance of the important features to see how they react to them. So basically, it's getting from one point to the end goal. So for example, what is the user test flow for Messenger? First, you have to log into Messenger, right? Next is to actually add a new message and choose among the list of your friends who would you message. So it's the step-by-step process of the sketch that was chosen. And each one will get the opportunity to vote. and the decider will choose which among the 6 steps process actually makes sense. So next is the storyboard. So the purpose of the storyboard is to leave no open questions for the prototypers. So since you've already have the user test flow, the storyboarding would now sketch those each steps into a detailed visualization. So it helps the prototypers know what should be in there in the prototype and what should be the exact flow at the same time. So now we're already done with day 2. So we've already vote on the solutions and we've already done the storyboarding. Now on day 3. So day 3 is the prototyping. So basically here there's no more experts involved. This is more on an internal huddle. And I think one tip that I could give from you from prototyping is I think you've always experienced that it's always hard to start a prototype, because even if you try to make a button, sometimes you'll get like, I don't like how the button looks, or should this be the color? Should I change the font size? I mean, that's always a problem. So one way to solve that is to use design systems. So there's a lot free to use design systems in the internet. So it helps you readily use available components like buttons or input forms. So it brings the momentum flowing. And once you're done with the wireframes, you then produce it to high fidelity. So I advise you to always do wireframes before the high fidelity, because if you start with the high fidelity, it would always be hard to know how the screen would look like, since you'll be busy thinking of how it would look aesthetically or what would be the images or the color we use. So always starts with a wireframe and then the high fidelity. And then once you have the high fidelity, it's time to do the prototyping. So the prototyping it's where it involves animation, how each button functions. Like, should this button go to this page? How would the screen goes if the password or the email was wrong? So that's really important as well. It also helps establish understanding for the clients once you get in the testing part. So now on the last day, or day 4, which is the user testing. So the user testing is where basically you test with the users, and you will have a week 1 wall of justice. So the week 1 wall of justice is where you write down names of the clients or the people that you are going to test the product to. And on the left side corner, you'll have the functionalities of the prototype as well as the sprint questions. So this is where you'll be able to evaluate whether or not did the prototype actually work? Did it actually answer the sprint questions? So this is just after you've gathered all the data from your testers, you would then again change the design. And so as you can see, you've already saved time and you haven't coded yet. You've already gotten a feedback before actually coding. Because I know that we've all experienced that we didn't test our design. We've always jumped to coding before even testing it. And then once we test, that's when we realize that some of the parts of the product that we've made aren't important, or probably we should emphasize this part more. So this actually helps limit your time, and you're actually producing more productiveness. And this goes on and on until you get the right product. And once you get the right product, you start then to code and develop your product or your design. And basically that's all. for the design sprint. I'm surprised that it all finished in 20 minutes. But before that, let me leave you with some principles to remember. This might help you during your journey on the solution challenge. So first is together alone. So what this means is that the biggest misconception of innovation is that group discussions leads to great ideas. Oh, that may be true, and also group discussions are valuable. They often lead to the most outspoken or senior person, that it sometimes influence the opinions in the room. Like, have you experienced that you have someone who's really smart, or is the top of your group, and then once he starts speaking, everything goes the way he says it to be. So the whole idea of the sprint is to create time for individual thinking during an innovative process. So with this, the playing field is all leveled. There's no biased opinions. It allows introverts to collect their thoughts without being as distracted. And there's already a sharing process before a group discussion. So it allows an unbiased thought everywhere. So next is tangible over discussion. So I think also many of us have experienced this, like we have a productive meeting, but the next meeting or the next day we'll ask again, what did we do, or what were the things that we have to do? So we always forget to do the things that are important. So having a tangible material allows us to produce more and remember more. So it forces the presenter to clarify their idea. It reduces the chance of confusion and miscommunication. And lastly, it provides a team an opportunity to build on the original idea and provide tangible feedback as well. So next is getting started to being right. So I think part of this process is seeking out information, whether that is wrong or right. So that is the whole point of the sprint, is to identify which challenges are to be tackled, which problems to be focused, and how are we gonna create this solution that would really solve the problem. So again, it's a step by step, and you don't have all. It doesn't necessarily mean that you always have to be right. Next, don't rely on creativity. So as you can see earlier on the examples, the sketches aren't as detailed as you expected it to be. So don't get overwhelmed by the term design sprint. This isn't a competition of who can design best or who has the best sketches. So it's just producing more ideas, basically. And lastly, time box everything. So the meaning of time box is to actually use time, take note of the time, because time here is very crucial. It's really important because it keeps the momentum flowing. It helps us reach from the next step to the next step to the next step until we get the end results. So yeah, and I'll give you time to screenshot this so you can see a copy of the mirror board template. And I also have here a step-by-step guide written in Gitbooks. And if you want a copy of the presentation, then you'll also have this. And if you're thinking if you're gonna pay me, yes, you're gonna pay me. I'm just kidding. You don't have to worry. You can just actually, it's free. It's free to learn, and you can actually also see other resources online if you wish to learn or expand your knowledge outside from this meeting. So yeah, that's the end of the Design Sprint 2.0. And again, I'm Bruce, and thank you for having me today as your speaker.
And that was Mr. Bruce Vincent Alturas, everybody. Diba? Very entertaining. Actually, honestly, it was just today when I learned about the term design sprint. I know, very beginner of me. For like, as a novice designer who wants to like delve into UI and UX, it's frustrating, to be honest. You work on a project and then you just think about starting and then finishing. And I think having that design sprint idea where you work as a team with with some sort of system segmented into parts is really appealing. Labi na tong parts when you said that there is feedback even though wala pa ka move sa next step. That's really appealing to me. So, now we proceed, I think, to the open forum. If anybody has any questions for Mr. Bruce, now is your chance. For participants in Zoom, of course, you can choose to send in your questions in the Zoom chat box or just raise your hand. I use the raise hand feature para kanang. If you're not shy to like unmute and ask the questions, just wait to be acknowledged. Let's begin. But to be honest, from just watching Mr. Bruce's presentation, I actually don't have any questions because I think it's very well elaborated na. Like I think it was like, okay, that's what it is. Oh, nice. We have a question from Christian. Are you ready, Mr. Bruce?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. This one is, are there any web apps that enforce a similar system to automate the brainstorming process? Oh, interesting.
I think one example that I've mentioned earlier is the Miro. So the Miro, it helps you, it has like templates of brainstorming process, depend on which kind you want. And you can also use Figma. In Figma, you already have there are also templates there, like design sprints templates or other brainstorming process that are available. I think Trello is one, but it doesn't really help visually. So yeah, I think Miro and Figma is I prefer, and they're also free, by the way. So it's not a hassle to you. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much for answering Sir Christian's question. And we have another one from our lead, Zach. Since in the design sprint, not everyone are designers, how does one get involved, especially in the Crazy Eight, since it's a struggle for me to think of design ideas?
I see. So, in the Crazy Eights, before you actually start sketching the Crazy Eights, so we had the doodling and the note taking. So actually, in the 4-part sketching, we're breaking down the idea. So in the note taking, we had samples of your favorite lightning demos. So again, lightning demos were the features or examples of products that solve the same or similar problems. And then from those, we create schedules and sketches just to see how it would represent in different ways. So basically it's just allowing your thoughts, like you could be like as imaginative it can be, as long as it's still solving the problem or the idea of the solution is still there.
Yeah. I think that was able to answer Mr. Machacon's question. So guys, don't be shy. Mr. Bruce is here. You can ask him questions. Don't are people still here for the eye, by the way? Hello.
Zach will be giving out 500 pesos to those who would ask questions.
Sige. Hi, I have a question, by the way.
Sponsored by our inaugural GDSC San Carlos lead, guys. The first ever GDSC.
You're also
San Carlos.
500. Oh, okay. Yeah. Naaraw. Hi, Wayne. Naki-question, Wayne. Don't be shy.
Feel free to ask questions, guys, even outside of the scope sa design sprint. Like even if it's like related to UI or UX, feel free to ask questions.
Can I ask a question regarding UI?
Yeah, sure.
Is there like a format or format in a way where like na something would look good with something else, or is just like imaginative na na it looks good with something else?
Um, uh, oh, yeah. So that's actually one of the struggles that I used to have before because I always thought that there's a certain rule to be followed when it comes to designing. Well, there is some, but I think in terms of like experience, like the more you've designed, the more you will know which are the things that should be designed this way. Like it will then eventually have like a certain standards. So an example that I could give to you is before I used to be confused on what the icon size should be, especially from mobiles to converting it to webs. So I started researching like, is there a certain standard to be used? So in mobiles, it's usually from like 16 to 32 pixels, and then I started to explore other apps whether they actually followed this certain rule or standard. Some do, but some do not. So as long as it actually like functions well, that's the important part. It's I always focus on functionality before aestheticness. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
It did. It did. Thank you so much.
I have one more question. So,
Sige.
if you watch a lot like of development software engineering TikTok or like any like reels or any like YouTube shorts, it's usually a meme where designers tend to do really hard designs which makes developers struggle
Oh
and
yeah.
cry well, especially
Yeah.
like when they see those really complex designs.
Yeah.
So how do you usually set a boundary in terms of like the feasibility of the design to make sure you strike a balance between good creativity and doability for the developers?
So yeah, I think the best way to actually have that kind of understanding is to have an experience of what um what being a developer is. Because if you know the constraints and the challenges of being a front end developer, and then you once you become a designer, you'll know what are the things that are feasible or not. But if you do not have that kind of experience, then an easy way to do it is to communicate with the developer. That's actually what I sometimes do. In our company, I ask them whether is this feasible. But since I also have experience of being a front end developer, I sometimes understand what are the constraints and what should be the UX experience, the UX designers, the UI UX designers, and just don't go overboard. I think have empathy, sympathy for the developers because it's hard. It's like I know you always have like the out of reach ideas, like you want it to become like this and that, but come on, that's not sometimes true unless your developer, the one who's coding behind it, is really that good, like can do anything you could do. So yeah.
Wala lang nagkatawar ako kay like I also saw the meme I think Zach was referring to. It was like no, or the meme that I saw was like, whose fault is it? Is it the UX designer or the front end developer? Something like that. But I think we have a next question. It's from Precious. Hello, I have a question. Since when did you start your career in UX and UI? What's the best advice for beginners who are interested in designing?
Oh, okay. So let me answer your first question. So I've started my UI UX career. Actually, before that, design in general. I started designing when I had an interest in logo designing. So I started joining this online challenge, like 30 days logo challenge. So every day an email will be given out to you, which has a scope on what the logo would look like, and then you have to create a logo out of it. And then from there, I started to look on icons, because I think at that time icons were really like loud online. Like people would design like Marvel icons. I don't know why, but it was like a trend. So I was curious on how to design icons as well. And then I started to learn dev, and then I realized like dev isn't really my thing, to be honest. It's a weak skill of mine. And then my brother advised me that why not try UI UX design. So then I started by practicing. I started practicing mimicking designs that are already there online and just recreating it in Figma. So that's how I started with my UI UX, and then I got to brand design, and then I got to UI UX, and then being a product designer. And I think it's just because I was surrounded by people who had given me opportunity, specifically my brother. So my brother is actually a UI UX designer before, and now he's a product designer at GoDaddy.
Oh.
So he actually mentored me. So it's also like a punishment, because he will also like force me to like design stuff. So it was pain, but I was also learning stuff, and here I am. So I cannot do it without him, basically. And what's the best advice for beginners who are interested in designing? I think one of the best advice that I could give to you is start learning simple. I mean, I started learning from logos. It doesn't necessarily you have to learn logos, but I think just start from there, like designing perhaps like icons, or somewhat like that. It's really hard to give a best advice. So let me think. Best advice. Okay, the best advice for beginners is just design. Just start designing. You don't have to be strict or hard to yourself. Like it has to appeal to everyone, or it has to be the next Facebook or something like that. Just start designing, and then eventually you'll get there. You'll start to learn like, oh, this should have been like this, like that. So just work on a project, and then afterwards go back to it again, like a month or so, and then rework to it until it becomes perfect or something like that. So that's what I used to do before. Like I used to go back to the old projects that I did like for fun and rework it with the knowledge I have today.
All right,
Simply
thank you so
practice.
much. There's a question, not a question, but
I tried.
hello, not a question, but I tried to get a copy of the design sprint presentation, but it requires a password.
Oh, okay. I'll let Zach. I'll try to resolve that later. I'll just screenshot your name for now, so at least I'll be able to send it to you or share it to Zach, so he can share it to the participants who are here today.
No worries. I'll send out
Yes.
an email blast for all presentations today to your
All
emails,
right.
probably by tomorrow. Thank you.
There's
Okay.
another question from Pat Candidaire. Do you know any other companies that are UI UX centered?
Um, other companies that are UI UX centered. Actually, I don't know much, but I know that there are companies that are accepting UI UX designers. I think the reason why there aren't much UI UX companies here in like locally because it's not really that um, being asked of right now. Like most companies are looking more of programmers than designers, but outside there are opportunities out there. So one way to find out is to use LinkedIn. So just search up a job for UI UX, and maybe they are there. But again, I'm not sure if they are UI UX centered. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. Okay, I think I have another question from Mr. Philip. Hello, I have a question regarding colors and color schemes. Are there any websites you can recommend that can help with color schemes for designs, such as which colors can work best together?
Um, I don't have any websites that I could provide to you, but there was a book, um, a book that I could. There was a book that actually helps you. I'll try to look for it and also see if I could share it to you as well. Like it has like principles and standards on not only the color schemes but also like font size, how the text should be, and also the buttons. So yeah, I'll try to look for it. Sorry if I cannot provide it to you as of now.
All right. Thank you for that answer. And we have a question from Wayne. I heard that design sprints work best in face-to-face meetings instead of virtually. Are there any differences? And were there challenges applying this during pandemic times, especially if you have teammates that are in different provinces?
Yeah, I think both have a disadvantage and advantages. I think the not really a disadvantage for actual sprint, but I think one of the challenges for actual sprint is having the time to schedule a sprint because not everyone has the same schedule as you. So it's really hard to find that time and to align with people. In terms of remote sprints or the virtual sprints, the challenge is basically the Wi-Fi connection because sometimes it could disrupt or it could disconnected, which could cut the momentum of the sprint. So I think you just have to communicate and decide which sprint do you prefer, whether it's remote or the actual sprint. So whichever is convenient to you.
Yeah, that's really good advice actually. Okay, finding kanang man. You're comfortable there, you're better at designing there, but like okay, are there any questions for our speaker for Karan? Or
I have a
have
question.
you okay,
Okay.
Mr. Machakon.
So it's related to the advice given earlier regarding just design, how beginners should deal with, like they should just keep designing. I've received a lot of questions, especially through GDSC.
Mhm.
A lot of freshmen and sophomores are getting into the industry very early. I received a lot of questions regarding internships, regarding career paths, and they're really trying to get into it early. I think it's probably one of the influences of YouTube where you see like those day in the life of a intern or something, and they're like freshman year in college or sophomore. So they have a lot of questions regarding this. So for people wanting to get into UI or UX design, especially in early college, do you advise them to go for freelance commissions or paid projects to bolster their portfolio, or should they go for unpaid internships in an industry setting instead?
I mean, getting paid for what you've worked hard is better than not getting paid at all. But at the same time, you should know how to deliver and price yourself, because there are a lot out there that do not understand the value of UI UX. That's why it's very hard to find that opportunity here, because they don't see that value. They only see that like, oh, you're just making a drawing or you're just sketching. Like they think like it's not really the core part of developing a product. So go for paid, of course. Go for paid. Just know who your clients are. You don't have to accept every client there is. Know your price, know how you deliver. So it's also important that you could deliver in the right way, because you cannot, like, for example, you cannot price 10K and then just deliver a piece of paper, right? I mean, that's a bit absurd. So you just have to know the right balance and combination with your work, with your price, and also the time that you've spent. And again, know your client, because I've had experience before. Well, not in UI UX designing, but specifically in branding. Like we would give them a certain price, and they'd feel like, isn't that a bit much? You're just designing logos. And I would answer them, then why are you here in the first place? Like, why are you asking me? You could ask someone else to do it for you. Like, so it's just the hard truth, but that is something that has to be learned. But if you rather prefer unpaid, then I think it's okay. Like if you just really want to learn, then that's really up to you. But eventually you'll be exhausted, because you'll be spending time, and it would end up eventually like they'll abuse you. Like, oh, I'm not paying. He's just for free. Like he's doing this for free. So why not give him more tasks and more load? So eventually it will be exhausting. So yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah, well
much.
said.
Yeah, that's a very huge a concern, because in the Philippines, I'm not sure if it's true for every company, but it seems like it's become more of a norm already to have unpaid interns. But for the past few years, I've been seeing movements to actually push for internships to be paid, because it takes a lot of time and effort, because there are actually a lot of interns are putting a lot of their time and their skills into the company that they're working with, just to uh strengthen their resume, but at the same time they're not being treated the same way compared to like regular employees.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, I'm not actually quite sure how like internship works, because there are some that actually pays you, and there's some that don't. So I think it also, in terms of like company policy, maybe like company financial, and yeah, said by the paid.
But yeah, there's another question from Wayne. Were there times that you, as a designer, have different ideas or layouts than what your client could have wanted? How do you usually deal with this and make your client understand the technicalities behind the design?
So I think before jumping into like design, so once they hand out certain task, to align with the client, I actually ask questions just to clarify a few, because you as a client and you as a designer, you have different ways of seeing things. So it's really important to clarify things, to ask questions. And then once you like started designing, you must explain to them like how things function and goes with the design. and you have to realign it again with the objective that they are giving to you, or the task that they are giving to you. And if they do have different ideas or layouts of what they could have wanted, then just you either have the option to either like design the whole thing, but the easiest way is to like find a middle ground where both of you could actually align. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true. Compromise.
Yeah, in my experience, I actually try to defend my ideas as much as possible. Like I try to, like, if they would start saying like I don't like this idea because of this and that, I would try to find a way that if we go for that, then this wouldn't work. Like some of the things wouldn't work. So because sometimes they tend not to think outside of the box. And I think part of the designer, you should think outside the box. Like, if I design this, what would be affected? Like, does it affect the previous step? Does it affect the other parts of the apps or the system that I'm creating? So that is one way of like how I usually defend my ideas. It just has to make sense, align with the client, align with the objective. Just always stick with the objective or the goal, basically.
Yeah, that's good. I think we're almost running out of time. But then again, I think that ends our open forum. Again, we would like to extend our thank you to our speaker, Mr. Bruce Vincent Alturas, because of his wonderful talk about UI and UX design. Truly, the kay kog nabalan ron actually. We at GDSC San Carlos would like to give Mr. Bruce a certificate. Would you like to read it, Eldridge?
Sure. This certificate is awarded to Bruce Alturas for imparting his valuable insights and inspirations in Solution Challenge Info Session on January 13, 2023. Signed by Jerry Kevin Laster, GD San Carlos CTO, Zacharian Machacon, GDSC San Carlos Lead, and Ian Jason C. Velayo, GDSC San Carlos Advisor. Thank you so
Again,
much.
Mr. Bruce, thank you for for taking time out of your day to be with us. So to everybody here in the group call, we'd like to take a break before we begin our last and final talk. Para dili sad mo ma-overwhelm. Eat a snack, drink some water, take a little breather, and we'll be back at exactly 4:05 with our next speaker. Again, Mr. Bruce, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, DSC. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah,
Next talk.
sure.
Hopefully. Thank you, Kaya.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, Zach.
Gibook na siya ni
Bye.
Zach.
Thank you.
Bayad niya, Zach. Gcash lang, Zach.
Uy, ang sponsor pa nga 500 para sa prize.
Mahal ako. Ako yung most sponsor.
I-pressure na po kang Zach, kuya.
Lagi.
Said, where's the 500 for the prizes?
So,
Use
magkita
the
rin yun sa
Gcash.
school. Magkita rin yun sa school,
Sige.
actually.
Soon. Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
bye-bye,
Kaya.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So guys, let's take a break for a bit and para ma-refresh atong minds. So, cue the music. Cue the music pa.
tutor. I just
Oh,
needed
good
one
na.
for online class.
No,
And
here's
if
the
it works, it
thing.
works.
Here's the thing. Hater ko tong Logitech kasi to C3 something kay like it's so expensive for its price, the quality, nice saturation, but very bad you guys. It closes up on your face and it's too expensive for its price.
Stella, I
It's-
know what you mean because that's my cam right now.
No, it's not. Wait, can you take a picture of it and send it to me? Hello, sir.
Sure. Let's continue on first. Okay.
Okay.
So, welcome back, everyone. Yeah. So it's the last part of our info session. Now, he is a developer and entrepreneur who worked in consumer, enterprise, and government software products. He's the co-founder and CTO of Simf, a design, development, and startup studio. At Simf, he has architected and developed solutions for 500 startups, Office of the President of the Philippines, and the World Bank. He leads a diverse team of developers in creating software solutions. He ensures the team's output is high quality and performs at a scale. He is also passionate about empowering the weekends and other events. Prior to that, he started Spell Dial, directed plays, and mentored street children. He studied information technology at the Center of International Education Global Colleges. He lives in Cebu City, Philippines with his wife. His interests include theater, performing arts, and non-trivial acts of eradicating poverty. Please help me welcome our technical architecture speaker, Mr. Albert Padin. Everyone, a round of applause, please.
Is it audible? Hello, Mr. Albert.
You're muted, sir.
Hello. Yeah, yours was your clap, your round of applause was audible, but the rest were virtual. But it's okay. Should I just go? I'll proceed.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's do this. Let me share my screen. And so just expectations on time. You guys are doing. Sorry, I just saw a name that I know. Hi, Jerel. Just what do you call this? Expectations. We're doing 30 minutes talk and then 30 minutes Q&A, correct?
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Let's go. Let me just fix my screen here. And then share my screen. Sorry, I'm on my laptop, so there's only one screen. So it's kind of, there you go. Checking if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's good. All right. So today we'll be talking about technical architecture. Maybe show of hands, how many of you are actually have already tried making an app before, or any software, website, mobile app? Maybe show of hands, just raise your hand in Zoom or something. So Zach raised his hand. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, there's two other participants, Zoom said, but I can't. Okay, Zyguel Philip. Yeah, I'll call you Philip. Okay, Philip. Okay, this is good. So most of you haven't. So today we're gonna go over that, and by the end of this session, hopefully you have a better appreciation of how apps are actually built. What makes, what are the things that you need to go through in order to design how to build an app. So if you're thinking, most of you use apps, but usually you only see the front end of the app, right? Like you only see, this, right? You interface with applications, web applications, mobile applications, smartwatch applications. You see it through a screen. But an app is more than just a screen. There's something inside, there's something behind. You probably heard of the term called back end, where the thing that you see in the screen is called the front end. So there are back end, then there's even more than that we don't really see. So if you think about it, there is a way to design and architect it. Just like when you have a building, right? When you look at the building from the outside, You know that when you go inside the building, there's something inside, and there's toilets, and there's lights, and there's rooms, and all these things. There's elevators, right? There's stairs, and it would be really weird if you go into the building, there's no stairs, but there's 10 floors, and there's no elevator. Like, that's a really badly architected app. And you say it's a badly architected building, you say badly architected because architecture dictates the design, the shape, the amenities, the features of the building. Just like technical architecture will decide what is in the front of the app, what is in the back of the app, how the data is stored, where it is stored, why it will be fast, why it will be slow, and so on. Okay, so this is, well, just dive straight into it now, okay? Because on the left side, you have this. Let me see if I can get a laser pointer going over here. Well, I know if I click, it goes back. So let me see if I can enable the laser pointer. Never mind, I forgot how to enable the laser pointer. This one, laser. Oh, there you go. Okay, so over here on the front end, this is the front end, and there's what you call the backend server, right? So in the backend server, this is where there's code that runs. That these are the algorithms. So for example, when you open Facebook, it will say, you want to see your list of friends, for example. Or maybe you don't guys use Facebook anymore that much. You guys use Facebook? What do you use? TikTok? So if you're using TikTok, the For You page, right? FYP. So you have that. It will like fetch the next video. So, right? So when you do fetch the next video, it will tell you here, the running code will dictate, "Oi, guy Zach over here wants to fetch his next video." So the algorithm here, running code, will determine what video to pull, but it will get it from the data storage, right? It will get from the data storage. So these are databases. So this is where the videos are stored. This is where the account details of Zach are stored. This is where the passwords are stored, and so on. So you have to decide what kind of databases. Different kinds of databases have different kinds of purpose. For example, there are databases that are really fast when you are doing transactional operations. For example, when you're transferring money like GCash, their databases are really fast at doing that. But then that same database, if you wanted to get a transaction history, it's really slow, right? It's meant for doing quick changes over small amounts of data from this person to this person transferred. 2 records only affected. But if you want to then query, like, give me all the transaction history for this person over the last 3 months, like, it's really slow for that kind of analytical operations or query operations. So what do you do then? So sometimes there is an architectural pattern, we call it, where you have 2 databases. One where you do the transactions, and then you are copying the data to another database that is faster for querying data. So then when you want to record transactions and transfer money, you use the fast transactional database. But when you want to do the analytical queries of reports and so on, you then, use the other database, the analytical database. And then there's things like other services. So for example, these are not databases, but these are other services that are not code that you program. So what are these other services? For example, there's a logo here for Vision API. So for example, if you want to detect uploaded photos and see if they are not safe for work, or if since you're students, you don't work, they're not safe for school or not safe for life or stuff like that, right? You want to detect that. Then you can use the Vision API. Story time. Okay, we built an app before with Sim. We built a dating app, and this dating app was supposedly, it's gonna end what we call catfishing. There's catfishing term is when you see somebody on a dating app like Tinder, for example, and they look so beautiful, they look so pogi and macho in the app, but then when you meet them in real life in eyeball, suddenly you're like, oh, it's not them, or it's not really like. It's really just different. And so that's called catfishing. I don't know why it's called catfishing, but it's called catfishing. So this dating app was supposed to we were supposed to end the catfishing because you could not send, every time you send a message, you also had to take a selfie along with it. You cannot send your message to this person unless you also send a selfie. So it's like you're always sending a selfie. so what happened with this one is that, you will always see a new self with this person as you're messaging. So in that sense, you get to see this person and then you're like, okay, ganito pa pala siya. Okay, ganyan siya. Okay, with makeup, without makeup, or whatever. Now, one of the problems that we encountered during this dating app is that we had an excessive amount of dick pics being uploaded into the dating app. And so at first, what we did was we then had to solve this because this would scare the other users away. And say, malaswa naman to, this is not good. I don't like this dating app. It's bastos and everything. So we wanted to reduce that amount of weirdos in the platform. Okay, they were obviously not there for dating; they were there for other stuff. So, the problem was, how do we detect that? So what we did was we invented this very cool system, API and technology, where every time something was uploaded as a profile pic, not as a private message, but as a profile pic, what we would do is we'd also send it to our Slack channel for screening. Right? So our team, including me and my devs and some of our interns, would see these pictures coming in. Every time there's a new picture uploaded as a profile pic, we would see it and then we would have a button is, approve or not approve. So if it was legit, it was okay. We approved that, the profile picture change. But if it was malaswa or bastos, we would disapprove it. Now you can imagine we were being scarred for life by the things that we saw that we cannot unsee. Right? We're like, oh, what the heck? Why are you shit about this? Upload this thing. Yeah, so it's not good for human beings to do that kind of job. So thankfully, there are stuff like Vision API over here. This is an artificial intelligence API that you could hit, and you just send it there instead of the Slack channel. You send it there, and then it will then reply, okay, this automatically, this image or this video contains nudity or contains medical gore, contains violence, right, is not appropriate, then you could automatically flag it without any human being having to see it. Oh, yeah, where was this when we needed it? So eventually we used it, but we already saw the things we cannot unsee. All right, so there are other services over here. There's also Google Maps if you need to use that, and there's Google Docs and Google Keep and other services. There's notification services, for example, in your TikTok, if there's a new video uploaded by somebody you follow, then when they upload a new video, you need to send out notifications. So that's also under other services that you need to do to take account of. Okay, so example, we have a photo sharing app. You want to build a photo sharing app. So why is it a photo sharing app? Because it's so cool. It's the next generation photo sharing app. So what's the difference between it and Google Photos? Well, this one is cooler. All right. Why is it cooler? Because it has changing background color. All right. Okay. So yeah, fine. It's like Google Photos, but with changing background color. So the front end, you have a web, and for the running code, you can use Cloud Functions, something like Cloud Functions. So why Cloud Functions? Cloud Functions is a service. There's many services. Let's go to Google Cloud, for example. Google Cloud. Google Cloud. So what are the services that we can use in Google Cloud? So we can go to products over here. My screen is very small. The website doesn't normally look like this, but my screen is squished. So I have to okay, so here are the feature products. We go to compute, right? So we can use compute engine, which is a virtual machine. We can use a cloud GPU. We can use app engine. We can use all these other ones. VMware, C, or compute products. Cloud Run, this is for running containerized apps. You don't need to understand this all right now. I'm just going to show you. What I really want to show is there's a lot, right? And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Albert, it's confusing me. It's so much overwhelming. Yep. But it's okay. Just stay there and listen, pay attention. Because this is what you came here for, right? This is what you signed up for when you decided to take a computer science or IT or whatever computer-related course. Right? This is so hang in there and breathe. Okay, so we have all these things. So tenant nodes, SQL Server, Google Cloud, VMware Engine. So these are. Why is Cloud Functions not here? Let me see. Cloud Functions. So Cloud Functions is under serverless compute. Okay, so it's not under just compute. My gosh, they created a new category. Serverless compute. But you know what? Guess what? App Engine is also on both, right? Oh, ridiculous. Anyways, I don't know why Google Cloud did that, but anyways, the marketing team ought to be called out for that. Let me call Sundar Pichai in a bit. So we have your cloud functions for creating functions that respond to cloud events. So this is serverless computing. Serverless meaning that you can upload the function code and you don't need to worry about servers. So Albert, what's that serverless thing? Yeah, I know you guys grow up in your generation where one of the things you don't know about is our servers, right? Before, when we have to make a website or an app, in my time, when I was younger, right, you needed to do it in a computer, right? Like you put it in a computer, you program it, you put it in the computer, you plug the computer in, and then you connect it to it via LAN, right? Local area network. And then the other computers can visit your website by typing in your IP address, 192.168.1.12. So if they connect to your IP address, then your computer has that website. It will then load it, and their computer that accesses it via LAN, local area network, can then see that website, right? So that's basically how you host a website. But instead of putting in 192.168, you just put in like Zach's computer. So that's an alias or a domain name for that IP address, which is 192.168 via the LAN still. Now, obviously, it's not so useful via the LAN. So you make it available to the internet. The internet is just a bigger LAN, right? It's just more computers connected to each other. It's called local area network. And then the internet is it's not a local, it's a wide area network or the internet network. Okay, so connected to the internet. So now you have a website hosted on your server, on your computer. But the problem is then your sister will go around, your baby sister will go around and then trip over the cable, and then, the server's dead. So then your website's down, right? And poof. So it's bad. So what then happened was then you just put it on the cloud. So you just rent servers on the cloud. You click, and you have a server there. It's some room randomly. It's not literally up in the sky in the cloud. Just letting you know, in case you didn't know that. But it's actually in a building somewhere. It's the size of a mall, sometimes like SM Mega Mall or something, and that's the size of it. And all it contains are rows and rows of computers without monitors because nobody's watching them there. The monitors are all in here with us. We're accessing it through our screens, connecting to it via the internet. Now, instead of renting a whole server complete with an OS and everything, you just say, hey, Google Cloud, I don't really want to use a server and then host it everything there complete with an OS. I just want to run my function, which when you send the function a photo, it will return the tags of the photo, right? Like what's in the photo. Okay, so that's what you use cloud functions for. And there's Cloud Run, and there's workflows and so on, storage, and okay. All right, so let's go back to my presentation. By the way, I have 10 minutes left. Damn, I didn't know it's gonna take so long. All right, so we're gonna, this is the part where I need my speaker notes because I digressed. Okay, let me read the part where I missed. Okay, for that, we choose Cloud Functions. Why Cloud Functions? Because Cloud Functions is a tool which allows developers to write a function in Python, in Node, or JavaScript, or Go, and trigger it using HTTP requests. So you can trigger it using from the web, you trigger it, Cloud Functions, and then it also handles all the scaling for us. Scaling meaning like if you have 10 users or 1,000 users or 100,000 users using it at the same time, it will still work. So it's really good for beginners looking to develop web applications. First question I get, Albert, why do we need to run it in Cloud Functions? What do you mean by scaling? You mean to tell me, why will it not work if there's 100,000 users who will use it at the same time? Let me ask you a question. You guys play a game like Dota or something, like, in your computer, right? Like, imagine if you then run 2 Dota applications at the same time in your computer, right? And then you have 2 keyboards, you connect it to your laptop, your computer, and then you play at the same time. Like you split the screen, right? Like half the screen is Dota for you and half the screen is Dota for your friend, but it's only one computer, right? What happens? Well, number one, can you do that? Well, imagine you can. But number two, what happens? It will slow down, right? It will be laggy. Why? Because you're using the same computer sources, CPU, your laptop will start to take off and sound like an airplane taking off, right? And then, but imagine you're doing now four people, split this in four, and then 10. By the time you reach 10 people playing Dota on the same computer, you're like, what the heck? Right? And why would you do that? And number two, it will stop working. It will be so laggy, you can't even do like, you'll be killed even by the creeps, right? So, creeps? Creeps. I forgot. I haven't played Dota in a long time. Anyways, you know what I mean. So, now, that's the thing with scaling, right? If you have one computer hosting your website and everybody's visiting it, it's just literally going to start smoking and explode. It's not going to work, and your users are going to be able to use it. So you need to scale. And by scale, usually what they do is they have many computers then automatically replicating your program and then diverting all the users to like, okay, first two, you go to computer A. Oh, you next users, you go to computer B and so on, and computer XYZ and so on, so that you will have everybody has a happy experience. That's why Google has over 1 million servers. Facebook has several, I don't know, maybe millions as well, to handle all the requests. So that's what I mean by auto scaling. You don't have to worry about that. Google Functions take care of that. Amazing. All right. So thank you for the knowledge, Albert, that we will never use. At least now you know. Okay. We also need to store our data somewhere, like user information or like usernames, etc. For that, we can use Firebase Firestore. Ta-da! Okay. This is a NoSQL database, which is also fully managed, meaning that it handles all of the scaling for you as well. All right. So this is NoSQL. Meaning by NoSQL is you can save like kind of like a JSON structure, JavaScript standard, JavaScript object notation, JSON, JSON. All right. Lastly, we need to store our photos. Sorry, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Okay. Lastly, we need to store our photos somewhere. For that, we'll use Firebase storage. All right. Okay, this is Firebase file storage system, allowing us to store our photos on the cloud. That's it. We have our photo app. And then you just add the background changing logic here in the front end, and then you're cooler than Google Photos already. All right, next. Other services. Okay, I say we wanted to add photo searching functionality like in Google Photos. Now we can use the Cloud Vision API and filter out dick pics. And also like, add tagging. It uses advanced machine learning, so you can automatically create tags for all the images and letting us search through all our photos with key terms. Because if you upload a photo of a cat, Google Vision API will return cat. Have you tried it? I will just digress. Again, no, not console. Google Cloud. Have you guys used it? Does anybody use it? Okay, you haven't. Okay, let me just show you a demo. This is fun. Vision API. To try the API. Okay, so we're gonna upload a Vision API over here. We're gonna upload, let's say, let's upload a person. So let's see what he thinks of. By the way, this is my Facebook. My Facebook is Albert Padin. Hey, sorry, I have people chatting me. That's my daughter over there. Wow, that 1 year ago. All right, so cute. Anyways, let's look for Zach. Zach, what's your Facebook? Zach. Zad.
Same as my name on LinkedIn. Zach, then space RIANE. There you go. That's the first RIA. There you go. That one.
Okay, so I'm sure he promoted about, yeah, there you go. Google developers. All right, so let's somebody say, this one, let's go to Zach. Then somebody like say stop.
Stop.
Okay, so let's all right, so we're gonna upload this photo. All right, so we're gonna first save this photo, save image as whatever in the desktop. So it's a bunch of numbers, so for sure, like, Google won't know what it is. It's in Facebook, so Google doesn't have access to that. Well, now we're gonna upload that and let's see what Google Vision returns. I'm not a robot. Okay, so we'll go there. It's uploading that. And Zach, are you there? Where are you?
I'm here. In the picture?
Yeah, in the picture.
In the middle. I'm in the middle.
Okay, you're in the middle. Okay, very good. So what happened here is that it detects the faces, right? So all the faces, it put a box on the face, right? And in all of faces, it detected except this guy, whoever you are.
Dilitaw si
Sorry,
jury.
Google did say you're a face. You know, sorry, not my fault. But Google Vision API. Emotion, joy. Most of the people here are phase 1, phase 2 are joy. Let's see if there's any phase here that doesn't have any joy. Phase 18. Where's phase 18? Well, no. But anyways, the way it will look like is the JSON will look like this, where it will return all the bounding boxes. Or even says where your chin left ganyan, chin right ganyan, right cheek center, left cheek center, where your right ear, left ear, right eyebrow, upper midpoint, like really all these details, you know, of where the faces are. So if you wanted to replace your eye with another filter and put in like a black eye, it's your app, that's what it does. You can do that. You can tell you the positioning of that. Objects. Okay, so in terms, there are luggages and bags. Sorry, whoever you're lying down, you're a luggage in a bag. And then there's jeans. Okay, that's good. There's jeans and there's shorts. Okay, that's a shorts, you're right. In person, so kailangan tao. Okay, ganun ba? All right, fine. Then the top. Okay, pants, person. There's also others. Now there's more. We're just showing there. Labels, it's a crowd, it's a room, eyewear, t-shirt, public event, performance. Look, sorry, vehicle. 51%, right? It's just saying 50-50 luxury vehicle, right? 50-50 lang, all right? But 63% crowd, which is correct. Text, so it's also doing OCR, right? So optical character recognition, it read the, back there. So if we search DevFest on your cool photo sharing app, then with this photo will come up, right? Which is what we want because it's DevFest, it's literally there, right? And DJ, where did it read this DJ thing, huh? I have no idea where it read this DJ thing. Anyways, so, even the div class div CL, which is a decoration, I think over here, right? In the background, that's pretty cool. And then properties, dominant colors, and so on. So then you can use this detail to then create like the automatic background color changing. So imagine you're looking at this photo, and then you use this color combination to have like a background effect. You're cool. You're cooler than Google Photos now. But what you also want is safe search because adult unlikely. I mean, adult meaning like nudity, right? Like not safe for work in the sense of nudity. So it's unlikely. It's like almost halfway there, by the way. But spoof, like for example, spoof would be something like if you uploaded a picture of Donald Trump with Kim Jong-un's hair, for example, like that's a spoof. Medical would be like surgery, like some people don't like to see that. Violence would be literally like, somebody like stabbing another person. That would not be cool to see if it's real. Racy would be more of like, I think like, not adult, but sexy, right? Like that would be a term for it. Okay, there you go. So that's Vision API. And yeah, that's, so how do you do this? Albert, you just showed us something, you have running code front end search services. So what do we do now? How does this help us with the technical architecture? Well, this is just an inspirational talk. This is not something that will teach you exactly what are all the different services, but I will teach you the methodology of how you will then create your technical architecture. What do you have to do? What did I do? What do I continue to do? What do people in our field do to do technical architecture? Now, number one, how can we do this? There's 3 steps: considerations, research, and design. Sorry, people, there's no skipping this, right? Number 1 is consideration. Number 2 is research. Number 3 is design. So first, what do you mean consideration? Well, number 1, understand what you're trying to build. Photo sharing app. Sorry, guys, some important people just walk into the office. Okay, they don't care about me. So moving on. All right, okay, so considerations. Sorry, let me just check my Let me just tell people that I might not go there. But sorry, Kadito. Okay, 2 minutes. All right, guys, I will probably have to step out. It's for real that some really important people like wrapping up a meeting. All right. So, but I'll breeze through this. So, what does my application require? Like, these are the considerations. What does my application require? How many people are on my team? How experienced are we? What languages tech are we comfortable? Don't try to use Java if you don't have anybody who knows Java, right? Consider like who your developers are. What do they actually know? Okay, what languages tech are we comfortable with? What is our budget? What is our timeline? How accelerated is our timeline, etc., etc. How much load does this service have to provide? What compliance? What technologies? And so on. Okay, that's your consideration. So don't skip the step. It's important to know and list down everything you need to know. Number 2, research. So remember a while ago, I showed you like all the products here? Well, that's a time where you go, what's compute engine? Then you go look at it, you watch YouTube videos about it, then you go Cloud SDK, you go here at YouTube and you say Google Cloud products, and then products next, and then you say Firebase, for example, all sessions. Oh, this is 176 video playlist. Oh shit, ang dami naman yan. Guys, I watch most of these. Yes, I'm not kidding. Right? Like, what do you do for fun, Albert? You might, some of you will watch TikTok. I watch these things. Right? So, yeah, you do these things. So you research everything. So this is even just Android, Flutter, TensorFlow, web, like YouTube. For every line item, you check it out. You read it, you ask, look at videos, you ask people, you browse, play with it. And over time, many months or something, or maybe even many weeks, you get to be familiar with what they are. So one resource would be bit.ly Google Cloud Forwards. All right. Next, tech design. So you write your own version of that one, right? This one. And then now you then know, for databases, you will know what to do in your considerations. So then this is the design part. All right. So what are the madugo part? What are the parts where it's really, really important to do? Number 1, consideration, which is really important not to skip. Most people skip this. Don't skip it. And number 2, research. Don't rush it. Just keep going and learning as much. The more you invest in this will take you many years in your career, right? But for this solution challenge, you probably take a few days and, maybe some nights where you're just watching and learning, but it will be the best days of your life, right? Like learning something new. If you don't enjoy learning something new, you are in the wrong career, I tell you. Because in our technology, it's one of the fastest changing industries ever, right? If teachers need to update their curriculum every year, we freaking update our JavaScript versions and everything and frameworks and everything. Every 3 months, there's a new thing coming out. We all have to learn it all the time. And we enjoy it. I enjoy it. And it's great, right? If you don't enjoy it, you might be questioning your course and so on. All right. Zach, I know we budgeted time for questions, but it's unexpected and I need to go. So I would be happy to if people can send their questions, you can send it to me. You can DM me in Facebook. Just say that you learn about me in this event. So it's my Facebook /Albert Padin, right? And then you can also follow my company, my team. This is Simfco, facebook.com/Simfco. Just follow us on Facebook. There's also our culture site. You can culture.simf.co and you can check us out. I gotta run now, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
No problem. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. We'd like to give you the certificate, but since we're
I'll
down to
rush
with
now.
time,
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.